They certainly do. Former Arsenal winger Perry Groves is alongside Talksport 2's Alex Crook as your commentary team this afternoon. And, you know, it's interesting Graham Potter says that, but also a 1-1 draw against Southampton, who are relegated and could potentially end up level on the worst ever Premier League points tally along with Derby come the end of the season, is not really a very good look. And obviously we heard Nicholas Fulkrug's comments about his teammates. He wasn't happy with the performance that they put in. And Graham Potter has decided to leave him on the bench. As a teammate, how does that make you feel, and was it the right decision today?
As Graham Potter flexed his muscles, Faye, I think he said that he'd rather that it was said in the dressing room and not in public. What Fulkrug said was actually right, that West Ham went in front and they sat back. And the irony is, that means that Jarrod Bowen, who's your best player, he's going to play out of position as a centre forward, and Nicholas Fulkrug, who's been in good form in the last 3 games, 1 goal and 2 assists. So I think Graham Potter at Chelsea, he couldn't handle the egos there, so I think it's him saying I'm in control of this dressing room. And it's brilliant as well when he's come out and he said about the stats, you know, of 5-0, 4-0, 3-0. Basically what he's saying is, these aren't my group of players. Judge me when I've got my own group of players in, which will be obviously in the summer transfer window. But he has a responsibility now of getting a tune out of this group of players, and he hasn't had it. He hasn't got a tune. I've seen them twice away from home. 2 of their best performances. One at Aston Villa, they drew 1-1. They played 5 at the back. Got a brilliant result at the Emirates, beat Arsenal 1-0. Jarrod Bowen getting a brilliant diving header from Wan-Bissaka cross. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're a little bit more compact today, where they go basically to a flat back 5. And it'd be Brighton will have to try and break them down. But it's Graham Potter just saying, don't judge me now, because if you did, he's had an absolute shocker.
Well, the problem is the West Ham fans judge very quickly, don't they? And they can turn very easily. 3 wins in 13 since he took over. Can they get all 3 points today? Let's find out. In the company of Perry Groves and your match commentator here on Talksport 2, Alex Crook.
Thank you, Faye. Very good afternoon, everybody, on a glorious sunny day here in the Sussex Downs. But these storm clouds are gathering for both Fabian Hürzeler and his opposite number, Graham Potter. No wins in 5 in the Premier League for Brighton. Just 1 point from the last 12 available. Their European dream is fading fast. And the 32-year-old Hürzeler was taunted by chants of "you don't know what you're doing" from the away end at Brentford last week. As for Graham Potter, back in familiar territory. 13 points from 13 games in charge of West Ham. Only the bottom 3 in the Premier League have picked up fewer, and there will be some amongst the travelling West Ham supporters who already are starting to doubt his appointment. A point does guarantee West Ham's Premier League survival this afternoon, but Perry Groves, that's not the type of conversation that maybe we were expecting to be having at the start of the season.
No, not at all, because Graham Potter came in, obviously a reputation at Brighton of playing expansive, attacking football. That's what West Ham fans want. So the owners of West Ham thought, right, we'll get a man who fits that. And ironically, Crookie, what he's done is he has actually made them better defensively. Under Lopetegui and David Moyes, they've considered an average of 2 goals a game. Now they've gone down to 1 goal a game, but they can't hit a cow's backside with banjo at the moment. You know, going forward, they're not creating chances. So he'll say it's a work in progress. I said before, when he just heard his little clips there, basically saying this isn't my group of players, but you still have to do it in the short term. You have to do it now and get a tune out of this group.
The Premier League era, Paolo Di Canio is the only West Ham striker with a better minutes per goal ratio than Nicholas Fulkrug. Maybe eyebrows raised then that Fulkrug finds himself on the bench this afternoon, with Jarrod Bowen preferred as a makeshift centre forward. I'm sure Fulkrug's comments about his own teammates after a 1-1 draw against Southampton last week played a part in that decision, but it's one that needs to pay off for Graham Potter this afternoon. We are off and underway here in the spring sunshine on Talksport 2. West Ham all in black, attacking from right to left and straight away on the front foot. Cross from Kudus towards Soucek waiting in the centre, and it's cleared upfield by Brighton in their blue and white jerseys, blue shorts and white socks, shooting from left to right in this first half. A reminder of the 2 lineups: 3 changes apiece for Brighton. Verbruggen in goal, Vifa Baliba as an emergency centre-back with Van Hecker injured, alongside Dunk and Estupinian in the back 4, Hinshuet and Ayari the midfield duo, with Solly March making his first Premier League start of the season, O'Reilly and Adingra in behind Danny Welbeck as the lead striker. For West Ham, Areola in goal, Wan-Bissaka returns as the right wing-back, Emerson the left wing-back, Kilman, Mavropanos and Todibo at central defence, Souček and Ward-Prowse in front of them, Paqueta and Kudus in behind Jarrod Bowen in attack. And West Ham seeing a lot of the ball in these early exchanges. Brighton with a difficult end of season run, and it almost feels like win or bust for them this afternoon in terms of a European place. And it's Danny Welbeck on the right touchline who skips away from the challenge of Emerson, then plays it back to Dunk inside his own half. He had a very difficult afternoon in West London in that 4-2 defeat against Brentford. Lewis Dunk, Perry, will be on a bit of a redemption arc in this game.
He was unlucky obviously with the two deflections, Crookie, but he was very poor in possession. The first 5 times he had the ball, he gave the ball away, but now we're just looking at him now, he's making sure he's had a couple of little easy passes where he's just give it to Belieber, got it back, and it was a little bit hectic that first couple of minutes, but Brighton have just started to get a little bit of control.
And here's the Swede Ayari, bursts over the halfway line out to Solly March, number 7 on the back of his Brighton jersey, slowly but surely getting back to full fitness after a long time on the sidelines with a knee issue. O'Reilly trying to feed it forward to Estupiñán. The loose ball is collected by Belieber, and he guides it high up into the Sussex sky and out to March on this right touchline. 0-0. We played 3 minutes on Talksport 2 already today over on Talksport. Chelsea have beaten Everton by a Nicholas Jackson goal to 0 to cement themselves in that Champions League place. And here on Talksport 2, well, nerves were jangling, weren't they? Luton won, 10-man Coventry 0, Luton out of the relegation places. We'll keep you updated with the goals as they go in from elsewhere this afternoon. Brighton coming forward down their left-hand side, and it's given away tamely and seized upon by Mohamed Kudus. Kudus dispossessed on halfway by Pervis Estupiñán, the Ecuadorian. And now Ayari in the centre circle will bring it forward.
Yeah, just Adingra very sloppy in possession. Just looking at West Ham, Crookie, they've gone, when they're out of possession, they go into like a 5-3-2 where they leave Kudus and Jarrod Bowen obviously the two furthest forward, and just there when Adingra gave the ball away, Kudus had a chance of a little break, a little 2v2, he ended up falling over his own feet.
Solly March into midfield, and Ayari going to spread the play out to Welbeck on this right hand side. Across comes the Greek Mavropanos, one of the 3 players recalled by Graham Potter this afternoon. Potter, hands behind his back, out on the edge of his technical area. Brighton were 4th in the Premier League when he left for Chelsea back in September of 2022. Here is Estupiñán being urged to hit one by the Brighton fans. He does so from fully 30 yards, left-footed high over the bar. 0-0.
Yeah, I think got a little bit carried away there, Estupiñán. As you said, you've heard the Brighton fans just encourage him to shoot. Really good play by Ayari initially, nice little nutmegs on James Ward-Prowse, then finds its way out to Estupiñán. He should be going a little bit further on the left-hand side, Crookie. He should be going out to Adingra. He's had his shot and he's just smashed it high over Areola's crossbar. Didn't trouble the keeper at all, and just gives West Ham possession back.
Just looking at Fabian Herzl, the Brighton manager, arms folded, wearing a puffer jacket. He spoke at an interview with GQ this week about his love for Stone Island. He also came out with what I think is probably the quote of the season. He said he's working on getting better sleep, but it doesn't happen overnight.
Never easy. Is that a David Coleman balls?
I mean, if that's not going to be in Private Eye next week, I give up the ghost. Here is Emerson down the left for West Ham. 0-0 here into Jarrod Bowen, just inside the Brighton half, but with room to turn, and then sliding in strongly was Mats Wiefer, the German, playing as a makeshift right back today. Effectively, Perry, they've got 2 midfielders, Brighton, in their back 4.
Yep, obviously Belieber just playing on the left-hand side of Lewis Dunk as the centre half. Wiefer this side as the right back. He did really well there actually, because Jarrod Bowen again looked like they might have a little break 2v2. Wiefer just slided in.
O'Reilly slots the ball down this right hand side to Solly March, running at Emerson, coming infield, left footed cross towards the head of Welbeck, headed away by Mavropanos, only to the edge of the penalty area, kept alive by March initially, and then Estupiñán. Here's Belieber stepping up from the back into midfield. Wiefer with a cross towards the far post. It was a teasing one, and that was a decent header away, I think by Wan-Bissaka in the end. But Brighton asking plenty of early questions. 6 minutes played, it's 0-0, but West Ham at the moment, Perry, can't get out.
Yep, they're just sitting deeper than a Socrates philosophy at the moment, just can't get out. but just really good defending from Aaron Wan-Bissaka there, because he's got to make sure when the ball comes into that right hand side, he got his head on the ball first. Odinga was just loitering behind him.
That was risky from Max Kilman. Tried a little Cruyff turn inside his own penalty area, but gets away from March and feeds the Brazilian Emerson down the left hand side. He immediately finds touch via a deflection, and Brighton having to defend a throw in here taken by Souček on the halfway line. He's one of a number of players, as I understand it, that could potentially depart West Ham this summer. There are only 3 or 4 players that they're absolutely adamant are not available for transfer. Thomas Souček has a couple of years left on his contract, and it's believed that Everton and David Moyes are showing some interest in reuniting with him.
Well, I think because of the PSR rookie, West Ham have got to sell players before they get any players in.
Well, they spent a lot of money last summer, didn't they? They backed Julian Lopetegui. Tim Stuyton, the sporting director, has since lost his jobs, and I think you're right, they are going to have to wheel and deal to give Graham Potter the resource that he needs. Here's Aaron Wan-Bissaka, one of the few summer signings that actually has paid off for West Ham. Kudus now, down by the right corner flag. Slide challenge from Estupiñán. West Ham have a throw.
Yeah, it's got a good tempo about it. Crookie the game so far. And just looking at referee Darren England, he's actually let it flow. You know, there's a couple of challenges he could have given failed. Just hope that he continues with that and stays with that consistency.
That's a good ball swept out to Emerson on this near side. Rolls it back for Kilman to cross, blocked by March on the edge of the penalty area, but Kilman quickly back in position. And West Ham now have it with Jean-Claire Todibo, another of those summer acquisitions. He's only on loan from Nice. I don't think it's entirely guaranteed that that move will be made permanent. And here is Mavropanos, the former Arsenal man, out for the left, and Emerson again, seeing plenty of the ball. Emerson on this near touchline, right in front of Fabian Hürzeler. And then Mavropanos with a lovely threaded pass to Jarrod Bowen. Bowen on the edge of the penalty area, gets his shot away left-footed, blocked by Dunk, and out for a throw. That's a little example of what Jarrod Bowen can do if you get the ball into him quickly and he finds himself in space.
It's a brilliant ball from Mavropanos, playing in the centre of the 3 centre halves, just in the centre circle, and West Ham's half just pings it into Jarrod Bowen. He came a little bit deeper, got himself on the turn onto his left foot. It was a really good block from Lewis Dunk, but West Ham had just eased themselves back into the game.
It's West Ham who have the ball over on their right hand side. Wan-Bissaka just shielding his eyes from the sun, couldn't keep it in play over the head of the gangly right wing back for West Ham, and out for a throw in. Early goal in League One, Wigan lead Blackpool by a goal to 0. Mellish has scored it. Some big games in the EFL this afternoon, and we will keep you bang up to date with the goals as they go in. Both those sides marooned in mid-table, so no jeopardy for them heading into the last couple of fixtures of the season. Still jeopardy as far as Brighton are concerned, chasing a potential European spot for only the second time in their history, and West Ham, as I mentioned, not mathematically safe from the threat of relegation yet, but realistically they are. Here's Wan-Bissaka into the penalty area, cuts it back, and it's into the side netting from Souček. Well, that was a rapid West Ham counter-attack. Really bright play from Aaron Wan-Bissaka, gliding away from a couple of challenges, pulled the ball back. Souček with a first-time shot from a tight angle, couldn't get it on target.
Yeah, it was really good play, little give and go. Wan-Bissaka into James Ward-Prowse, then Jarrod Bowen going out onto the right wing position. Wan-Bissaka on the underlap, just getting himself to the byline, pulling it back, 6-yard box. Souček just trying to let it roll across his body and tried to side foot it past Verbruggen, goes into side netting. Really good pass and movement from West Ham. That's exactly what Graham Potter would be looking for.
Salford have taken the lead against Colchester in
Offside.
League 2, and that is a big goal because both those teams have eyes on the final playoff place, but it's Salford 1, Colchester 0. Salford up to 7th in the table as it stands, Colchester 9th, a couple of points behind their hosts.
Drop my inane stat of the day.
Here we go. It's only taken what? 11 minutes.
Colchester United have never lost away to Salford City in the EFL.
How many times have they
5
played?
games.
I was going to say.
One free, drew 2.
That's not the best start of the season.
Got to cling to it. You've got to cling to it.
Do you know what that is? That's Perry Groves. He's already got the flip-flops and the budgie smugglers on. End of season stat, that one.
Little rubber rings out, having a little paddle.
Armbands. Here's Hayari. Sheffield Wednesday take the lead against Portsmouth. Portsmouth guaranteed safety. Last weekend they're 1-0 down at Hillsborough in what probably will be Danny Roll's last game as Sheffield Wednesday manager. Here is Belieber. picking the ball up high upfield. 0-0 here at the Amex. We've played 11 minutes on Talksport 2. And don't forget, coming up later over on Talksport, the first of the weekend's FA Cup semi-final should be a cracker. Aston Villa take on Crystal Palace live from Wembley. And we're back at the home of football tomorrow as well. 4:30 kickoff as Manchester City take on Nottingham Forest. We could also see Liverpool officially crowned champions tomorrow. They host Tottenham at Anfield at the same time as that FA Cup semi-final.
Just looking at Brighton, Crookie, just having a little bit of possession. Adingra goes wide on the left-hand side, Solimarsh wide on this right-hand side, Danny Welbeck in the middle. There's been no threatening behind. Everything has been lateral, been in front of West Ham's back five. West Ham defensively look very comfortable. So even if you come short to go long, Crookie, then it puts doubt into Debo, Mavropanos and Kilman's minds that there might be a threat in behind. Brighton haven't done that at all. It's coming up to playing 11 minutes and everything has been in front of West Ham.
Solly March just got caught from behind there by Emerson right on the touchline. March, who spent 14 months out injured, a real fans' favourite here at the Amex. It's a cliche, but he will be like a new signing next season with a full pre-season under his belt. Here he is, March, coming in from the right-hand side. He's so capable with both feet, and he plays it into the centre circle and Believer. Forward to Estupiñán in the lime green boots. Now the chance for Simon Adingra to pick out Ayari on the edge of the area. Oh, that is a worldie! What a goal from Yassin Ayari! 25 yards out, right-footed into the top corner. It's his first ever Brighton goal, and it's safe to say it was well worth the wait. Brighton 1, West Ham 0.
Crookie, why do you need to bother going behind when you can just do it from in front of the back five of West Ham? Brighton work it really well out to Adingra. Adingra then just comes back into Estupiñán, then just rolls it out to Ayari, and Ayari just gets it onto his right foot. Paquetá doesn't go and close down quick enough. He uses Paquetá, Crookie, as the shield, bends it round him, high into Areola's top left-hand corner. What a goal from Ayari. Brighton go 1-0 up here at the Amex.
And that is, well, definitely a goal of the month contender, maybe even goal of the season, certainly as far as Brighton are concerned. Right out of the top drawer. It raised the roof here at the Amex, and well, just when Brighton, stuttering for form, were in need of a shot in the arm, one swing in the right boot from Ayari has certainly provided that. Brighton 1, West Ham 0. And is it going to be a miserable return to the Sussex coast for Graham Potter, the West Ham manager? You'd think, Perry, that should give Brighton the confidence to go on and win well.
Yeah, but what happened, Krug, I said there wasn't a threat in behind, so West Ham just sat a little bit deeper, back on the edge of the 18-yard box. And when you do that, you've got to make sure you go and close the ball down. And Paquetá, obviously we all know that he's very gifted with the ball, but I think him and Kudos are lazy off of the ball. And exactly what happened there. There was no sort of real intensity to go and close Ayari down. And just brilliant technique from Ayari. So gave Areola no chance, top left bins. And we see now what the response is going to be from West Ham.
Goal at St Mary's, Southampton 1, Fulham 0. Jack Stevens, the captain. Southampton need a point today to go past Derby in their quest not to be officially the worst team in Premier League history. Plymouth, meanwhile, have taken the lead at Preston. Big goal down at the bottom of the Championship. Mustafa Bundu, after 14 minutes, has given Plymouth's survival hopes a boost. And here at the Amex, it's Brighton 1, West Ham 0. Yassin Ayari, take a bow. That was a blockbuster. And listen to the noise levels inside the Amex now. Here is Adingra, certainly played his part in the build-up. Couple of step-overs, finds Ayari again, urged to shoot by the Brighton fans. Lays it off first time to Hinshelwood instead, then Estupiñán with a cross over the head of Welbeck. And it's cleared away by Emerson, but not completely clear from danger yet. Really good spell this for Brighton. A clap of the hands from their manager Fabian Hertz, who must have been feeling the pressure, Perry, after those chants that you and I heard at Brentford last week. This is just the type of response that he would have demanded.
Well, he had the you don't know what you're doing, because they were 3-1 down to 10 men, and actually scored because he said he wanted more control. Solly March came on because he wanted more midfield players, and he actually worked for them and had another good chance from Matoma, could have made it 3-3. I said before, this is a club and a manager that does know what they're doing.
And certainly what you won't get from Fabian Hertzler is any panic. He was really cool and calm after they lost 7-0 at Forest early in the season. Here's Bowen into the penalty area, right-hand side, brilliant block. What a superb piece of defending from Lewis Dunk, the captain, throwing himself in the way of his England teammate, diverting the ball behind, and the referee's verdict is that actually he diverted it onto Bowen. It's a goal kick.
Yeah, West Ham worked it really well on the right-hand side. Wan-Bissaka just into Jarrod Bowen, and Jarrod Bowen just on that right-hand side. He just got to get it into his right foot and get it across the 6-yard box. Just try to get it back onto his left foot. Believer comes across. It's a good block with the outside of his right foot, and then just ricochets back off of Jarrod Bowen and goes out for a goal kick.
Brighton 1, West Ham 0. 17 minutes gone on Talksport 2. Yassin Ayari with a cracker from 25 yards out into the top corner. Good response from West Ham though. Here's Kudus out to the right hand side, and James Ward-Prowse. Ward-Prowse rolls it back to the edge of the penalty area. Kilman, the captain, with a shot high over the crossbar. In fact, it was Paquetá, sorry, high over the crossbar, and it remains 1-0 to Brighton.
It makes you laugh, Crookie, when it comes out to Paquetá, not in a dissimilar position from where obviously Ayari was, and then he smashed it over the crossbar, and he looks down at the pitch as if to say there's a divot, and you're like, mate, unless there's a mole pops up, we don't get divots in modern day football.
At any level, in fairness. Here is Vifa for Brighton, over the halfway line, right hand side. Solly March has made a burst ahead of him, comes infield instead for Danny Welbeck. Such an intelligent player leading the line. Welbeck, the veteran for Brighton up front. Now Adingra, he's going to run at Wan-Bissaka onto his right foot, shifts it to Vifa. Vifa with a left-footed effort, took a deflection straight into the arms of the keeper. Stays 1-0 Brighton. You are listening to Brighton against West Ham on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now, like Bournemouth United and Liverpool Tottenham live tomorrow. Search Now Sports.
Yeah, Brighton worked it really well out to the left-hand side to Adingra, 1v1 with Wan-Bissaka. Did about 15 foot overs like Michael Flatley out of river dance, and then just rolls it out to Vifa. Vifa gets his left foot. This time it was good closing down from James Ward-Prowse. Just made sure he got the ball quickly. Little deflection just went through to Areola, but again West Ham giving the ball away cheaply. Brighton get themselves back in possession.
They do have a terrific record against West Ham as a Premier League club. Brighton, one defeat in 15 previous top flight meetings against the Hammers.
And it was this fixture last season, was it? 3-1.
It was, yeah, right at the start of the season, I seem to recall. James Ward-Prowse had a brilliant afternoon that day. Here is Wan-Bissaka down by the right corner flag, but out-muscled by a combination of Adingra and Estupiñán. Then a poor clearance away by Estupiñán. One back by Souček on the edge of the area, but they can't keep the ball. And Solly March has it midway inside his own half. Brighton a goal up here, and Welbeck with a lovely switch of play to Vifa. Vifa's got Hinshelwood bursting on the overlap, comes in field. Vifa, he tried to tee up March on the edge of the area, clipped the heels of Thomas Souček, and ricochets cleanly into the arms of Areola.
Yeah, it's just a wrong decision there from Vifa. Solly March and Danny Welbeck worked it really well in the centre circle. Danny Welbeck then out to Vifa. Then O'Reilly goes on the overlap, and he's free, Crookie, on the edge of the 18-yard box. All Vifa's got to do is roll it to him, and just goes for Glura on his left foot, gets a shot blocked. And if I was O'Reilly, I mean, footballers are quite nice these days, I'd be screaming at him to give me the ball. And they just sort of shrug their shoulders and say, unlucky.
Here is Jarrod Bowen, free kick conceded by Kudus for a foul on Dunk in the build-up. Dunk just crouching down, feeling his lower back. You know, Michael Flatley's no longer part of Riverdance, by the way. There's been a contract dispute. Did you know that?
Yeah, but he's the one who invented it all. He's not still getting royalties.
I'll bow down to our legal Sal, who says no, apparently. There you go.
What, Flatley's been flatlined, is he?
He was flat out before that, in fairness. Here's March, trying to get in behind the West Ham defence, but he was offside. It's going to be a free kick for the Hammers in their left-back position. No wins in their last 6. That was a really disappointing result against Southampton last time out. Took the lead through Bowen and just never built on that. If they don't turn this around, Perry, will Graham Potter get a bit of criticism for his decision to leave out his only fully fit striker in Nicholas Fulcrum?
Well, it's said before, he's in really good form, isn't he? Like last 3 Premier League games, 1 goal, 2 assists. and it means that Jarrod Bowen, who's West Ham's best player, plays out of position. I think he'd rather that Fulkrug was up front, so he has a bit of a focal point. But I was on the train with a lot of West Ham fans coming down, and normally West Ham fans can be a bit angry, can't they, and a bit judgmental. They weren't. They were just coming basically for the day out. They're like, we're going to go down to the beach, have a couple of pints, we'll come and watch the game. So I think that even they're not angry at the moment. They've just sort of laughed the rest of the season off, because they know they're not getting relegated, and they're not going to judge Graham Potter at the moment, because they're not his players.
A couple of goals in League One to tell you about. Barnsley 0, already relegated. Shrewsbury 1. Adrian Durham's Peterborough lead Bolton by a goal to 0, and it's Exeter 0, Huddersfield 1. Josh Corrimer with the goal in that one. Again, two teams with nothing but pride to play for, and Salford have doubled their lead against Colchester. Liam Shepherd with a second for Carl Robinson's side. And that is a big blow to Perry's old club's hopes of a playoff place.
Did I tell you that it's probably Colchester's first defeat ever away against Salford City in the EFL?
And they've played them so many times before, haven't they?
Just looking at Brighton, obviously, Weldy from Ayari. Have a chat to me about the assist, in inverted commas, from Hinchelwood. That's not an assist when you pass it 3 yards square.
And actually, it was Adingra who did the hard work in the build-up, wasn't it? And it was, as you say, a pass back to Hinchelwood, quickly moved it on to Ayari, and all of a sudden it was in the top corner, like a howitzer beyond Areola.
Goes down on his stats.
On ball forward, flicked on by Bowen. Here's Kudus into the penalty area. Oh, he goes down under a challenge from Belieber. West Ham fans asking for a penalty. Perry spotted straight away that Bowen was offside in the build-up. It's going to be a free kick for Brighton, who lead 1-0.
Yeah, Jarrod Bowen just went a little bit too early. Was caught offside. It wasn't Kudus actually, run from behind Jarrod Bowen. Didn't get his shot away quick enough. Really good defending from Belieber and Estupinian, making sure they get back to close the ball down. But Jarrod Bowen there, because he's not used to playing centre forward, you've got to make sure that you bend your run quicker. You bend your run so you can see the defender's number, and you run towards him, and then you go forward.
That's why I don't really understand the selection, because clearly you're going to annoy Fulkrug, and I've got to say his comments were quite well received by the West Ham fans. How they went down in the dressing room is probably a different matter, but you're going to annoy Jarrod Bowen as well, because he's out of position. And also, we knew that Jan-Paul van Hekke wasn't going to play today. My suspicion was that Carlos Belieber, a central midfielder, will be playing at centre-back. Surely you want Fulkrug to test his defensive capabilities.
Yeah, what it is Graham Potter flexed his muscles. I think he got sort of scarred when he was at Chelsea, because there was a lot of egos, a lot of expectation. He couldn't handle that. So I think it's him saying, I'm going to be in control of the dressing room. But if he was a West Ham player, and he did dig the West Ham players out, didn't he? He said, we sit back, we don't push up enough, basically having like the midfield and forward. You can just ask him yourself and just go, by the way, you point your finger at me, because I'd be offended if someone was intimating that I wasn't doing my job properly and wasn't putting 100% in. And you said there, if you're Fulkrug, you're looking at it and thinking, well, if I go on, I just put myself up against Belieber. You know, he's strong, he's physical, can hold the ball up. But managers live and die by the decisions, and at the moment it's not working for West Ham.
Tranmere League crew by a goal to 0 in League 2. That would confirm their survival in the bottom tier of the Football League, and in turn send Mark Hughes Carlisle into the National League. Carlisle may be in need of a Jimmy Glass moment or two this afternoon. Free kick has been conceded here for a foul on Jarrod Bowen, 10 yards into the West Ham half. It's Brighton 1, West Ham 0. And Brighton's record when they score the opening goal this season, 9 wins, 6 draws, only 2 defeats. So that is an ominous statistic as far as West Ham United are concerned.
And the Hammers haven't won away in the Premier League and conceding a goal in 15 games. They've drawn 5, lost 10. So it just shows you a little bit, maybe a soft underbelly. But Brighton have looked better in and out of possession. They're just a little bit sharper, closing down the ball. So Riley and Danny Welbeck set the press off.
Emerson and Soucek combining down the West Ham left. Emerson to the byline, plays it against Solly Marks, not with enough power to send the ball spinning behind for a corner. So Soucek finds Paquetá right in the centre of the Brighton half. Ward-Prowse back out to Emerson on this near side. 1-0 Brighton lead. We played 26 minutes on Talksport 2. Earlier today on Talksport it finished Chelsea 1, Everton 0. As Paquetá is dispossessed on halfway by O'Reilly. Here's Adingra now, trying to get away from Ward-Prowse, doesn't do so. And Wan-Bissaka with a chance to counter. Comes infield for Kudus, who was very quickly closed down by two Brighton players. Sliding in was the goal scorer Iarian, and Lewis Dunk, the skipper, out to Vifa on this right hand side for the Seagulls. Now Iari over the halfway line and into the feet of O'Reilly. Here's March hugging the near touchline as we look low down right behind the two dugouts at the Amex Stadium. Most of the pitch still bathed in glorious spring sunshine as Belieber exchanges passes with Lewis Dunk. Brighton certainly dominated the possession stats.
Yeah, just looking at Brighton out of possession, when it goes into Kudos, Ayari and Hinchwood make sure that they're snapping at his heels when it's in the centre circle. So they're a lot sharper and brighter out of possession. That enables them to win the ball back. They've had about 10 passes now keeping possession, moving it from right to left.
Portsmouth have drawn level at Hillsborough. Sheffield Wednesday won, Portsmouth won. Harvey Blair on loan from Liverpool with a goal, and it goes from bad to worse for Colchester. 3-0 now to Salford. Cole Stockton with the goal in that big playoff six-pointer. Latest goal, I should say. Here's Lewis Dunk down the line to Vifa. I guess the upside of having two midfielders in your back four is that they are going to be comfortable stepping into midfield and driving at the opposition. We've certainly seen that from Vifa and Belieber in this first half.
Yeah, it's sort of a Brighton template, Crook, isn't it? You know, from Graham Potter when he was here and he took over from Chris Hughton, where they wanted a more possession-based team. That happened under Graham Potter, and then De Zerbi comes in and he gives them more sort of mayhem football, you know, on the front foot, gets them into Europe.
Here's Mohamed Kudus, midway inside the Brighton half, finds Soucek well forward on the edge of the D. Soucek with a switch of play to Wan-Bissaka, who's in space. Adingra didn't track him. Wan-Bissaka with a cross, cleared away by Belieber. From the corner of the 6-yard box, headed on by Tadibo. Got a whack in the face, but play continues. Wan-Bissaka with another cross into the area. Ari with a header clear this time, and Paquetá beaten to the loose ball by Estupiñán. Everybody bar Areola currently inside the Brighton half, away to our left. Paquetá to Wan-Bissaka, marauding forward again. Low cross this time, steered clear by Carlos Belieber. And Paquetá does well to outmuscle Adingra, and then chips the cross into the area over the head of Soucek and caught easy enough by Bruggen, and it stays 1-0 to Brighton. For the latest odds, head to William Hill, the official betting partner of Talksport 2's Premier League coverage. Right now Brighton 1-3 on for the win, 15-2 if you fancy West Ham to come back and get a draw. To come back and win. The draw is 4-1. That's all thanks to William Hill, 18+, biggambleaware.org.
Yeah, first red card dished out by Darren England referee to Mavropanos as the ball come in to Danny Welbeck. He's got himself between Mavropanos and the ball, and Mavropanos, I think, it's just pure frustration where he's gone through the back of Danny Welbeck. Gave Darren England no choice but giving him a yellow card. Now, if it was Danny Welbeck, you'd be saying to O'Reilly or Hinchwood or Ari, right, the next 5-10 minutes, just keep rolling into me. Keep rolling into me. I can back in. He's got 2 fouls left in him now, or is he going to be sent off? And just looking at West Ham, they've been pretty good down the right-hand side. And if there's one sort of criticism that you could label at Wan-Bissaka, Crook, you saw him at Manchester United, is his final ball. And we saw him at the Emirates, and it was a brilliant cross for Joe Byron's header, but he's had the ball 3 times out on that right-hand side, and 3 times he's hit the first man.
Stockport 0, Lincoln 1 in League One. Stockport already guaranteed a playoff place, but behind this afternoon. Here's Adingra, deep cross to the far post over the head of Solly March, and Vifa is going to have to sprint to keep in play. Finds March, right corner of the penalty area, away to our right in front of a swathe of travelling West Ham fans. Here's O'Reilly, little chip to the near post, headed away by Kilman, but still they can't get it fully clear yet, West Ham, and it comes for O'Reilly. Tried the little guided side foot shot, left footed, straight into the arms of the diving Areola. Oxford 1, Sunderland 0 in the Championship. Sunderland have known for some time that they are going to be contesting the playoffs, and it's difficult in that circumstance to build up any real momentum. And they're behind, away from home against Oxford. Oxford not mathematically safe as yet, but looking to seal it. It's a frenetic battle, isn't it, for Championship survival. Reminder here on Talksport 2 earlier, it finished Luton 1, playoff chasing Coventry 0. Took a long time, Luton, against the 10 men, but they got the victory. They're out of the bottom 3. And Hull played Derby this afternoon. Derby currently occupying the final relegation place, but Hull only 2 points ahead of them. Cardiff and Plymouth could be relegated today, but Plymouth lead by a goal to nil to mathematically give them chance of an unlikely escape act.
You know, Faye's got to be really hot in that Luton bobble hat and scarf, isn't she, in this sort of weather?
To say she was tense was an understatement. But
it's a good Saturday, isn't it? Good Saturday.
These Saturdays at the business end of the season, you can't beat them, can you? Cross into the Brighton penalty area, and it's headed against the bar by Souček. I wonder if Verbruggen clawed that onto the upright.
I think it was a brilliant save from the goalkeeper, Crookie, because as the ball just eased into the box, Souček gets away from his marker, gets a really good header on it. Looks like it might nestle in the top right-hand corner. Just comes out to Max Kilman, just eases it onto the penalty spot. It's a really good header from Souček. Just seeing if the goalkeeper gets a faint touch and pushes it onto the crossbar. It's a brilliant save from Verbruggen.
Fingertip stuff.
We said earlier, Crookie, you said that there was a little bit of a question mark, didn't we, over Verbruggen, that he doesn't pull off big saves, you know, and his expected goals against is too big. That's a world-class save he's just pulled off there to keep Brighton in the lead 1-0.
Carlisle have taken the lead away from home in League 2. Cheltenham 0, Carlisle 1. That won't be enough as it stands to keep their survival hopes alive heading into the final day, because Tranmere are leading Crewe Alexandra by a goal to nil. Mark Hughes, former Premier League campaigner of some distinction, is the Carlisle manager, but at the moment they are heading into the National League. Here at the Amex, it's Brighton 1, West Ham 0. The goal from Yassin Ayari, 25 yards out into the top corner. And the ball currently is at the feet of the yellow-shirted Alphonse Areola. No clean sheets in 6 games now for the Frenchman. Nothing he could do about the Ayari effort. Here's Solly March with his back to goal, but it nipped away by Kilman, but they've still managed to find Ayari on the edge of the area. Danny Welbeck with a shot that's blocked, and that's a clever disguised pass by Hinschuan into March, just inside the box. March with a curling cross towards the top corner, behind for a goal kick. 1-0 Brighton.
Yeah, I think Solly March got himself caught in about 6 minds there, because it looked like he was trying to bend it inside Ariel's top right-hand corner. Earlier on, it was a brilliant pass from Jack Hinswood just into O'Reilly. O'Reilly then just lays it off to Danny Welbeck on the edge of the D. Tries to get his shot away. He's really good defender from West Ham. They get 2 defenders to him. He said then when it comes out of Solly March, it's just a nothing ball really. You know, it's just like floated into no man's land.
Ball forward by Emerson, looking for the run of Bowen on the edge of the area. Belieber gets there ahead of the England international and hooks it clear. And it's ballooned up into the air by Estupinian, brought down neatly by Welbeck, but can't control it, and it's collected by Max Kilman.
Crookie, that warms the cockles. Trust me, that was a proper Avid, wasn't it, from the 1980s. Just smashed it, 120 foot up in the air.
Welbeck did really well to control it without actually ever really being able to get it under his spell. Here's Kudus at the other end. Wan-Bissaka sliding the ball forward to the Ghanaian Kudus. Only Bowen and Souček in the centre, and Estupinian stops the cross and then clears it away. Welbeck with a clever touch to Hinschuan on the edge of the Brighton area, and he quickly steers it forward to O'Reilly, who's looking for the run of Solly March. He was probably offside, was he, as Areola, the sweeper keeper, heads away. And then Emerson had to get there ahead of Mats Vifa, and this is where the rule is ridiculous, because that could have been a dangerous challenge from Emerson on Vifa. It was obvious Solly March was offside in an earlier passage of play, and yet the flag did not go up.
Yep, he said there, Crookie, Solly March was 3 yards offside, and we could see it from here. So then you get a little coming together of Emerson and O'Reilly, and then one of them could get hurt because it's like a 50-50 tackle.
Goal for Wolves, they lead Leicester 1-0. Mateus Cunha, who could well be plying his trade at Old Trafford next season, has scored in that Midlands derby. Leicester relegated last weekend. Wolves in a brilliant form.
Well, they've won 5 on the trot in the Premier League before this one. Best run since 1970.
Here's Solly March at the other end. Brighton 1, West Ham 0. March trying to take on Kilman. His cross is blocked behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, Solly March was trying to go on the outside of Max Kilman, didn't really have the pace, but Crookie, what happens is when you try and go on the outside, worst ways out, if you get your cross in, you're going to get a corner or get a throw-in. Solly March gets Brighton a corner from their right-hand side.
Yeah, Lewis Dunk will be forward looking for his first goal of the season, unusually, this late on in the campaign.
Just looking at West Ham, they've got everybody back, right? Belieber is the deepest player for Brighton. Why don't West Ham just say to Joe Byron, just go and stand up with him? So if we clear it, then we've got an out.
Short corner routine, and then whipped to Estupiñán on the edge of the area. Clever little attempt from him, and the rebound doesn't quite go in. First time round, it does from Adingra, but the offside flag is up, and West Ham are reprieved. It was a lovely training ground routine, short corner, the ball whipped to the edge of the area. An excellent technique from Estupiñán to sort of side foot volley it towards the bottom corner. It was awkward for Areola. He clawed it away. I think the initial effort on the rebound was from Ayari. Another save from Areola. The flag would already have been up potentially, then Adingra tucked it in at the third time of Arsenal. They are going to check this though.
Crookie,
there's a player who is just the wrong side of his marker, but is he interfering with the goalkeeper Areola?
I think when the shot comes in from the edge of the 18-yard box from Estupiñán, then they're looking at an offside in the first one because...
Well, Welbeck made a motion
to try and flick
towards the ball, and I wonder if Areola and the VAR will say that delayed his ability to dive and save the shot.
Well, Danny Welbeck is actually nowhere near it. I don't think it does, because Areola's got to dive down to his left-hand side anyway, and even when it's coming out to Estupiñán, I don't think that Danny Welbeck's offside when he volleys it in the first place. So then it comes to Adingra, and Adingra wasn't offside on the rebound, but it's been given offside.
Well, Paul Tierney is the man on VAR duty this afternoon, and he has clearly decided that that was offside. Obviously we have the new technology now to speed up the process, but that to me looked one that probably was down to interpretation as to whether or not Welbeck was actually interfering with play. Anyway, it stays 1-0 to Brighton, but it's a really good corner, wasn't it?
Yeah, very well worked from the right-hand side. So Estupiñán found himself completely unmarked on the edge of the D. Got a good volley away. Really good save, actually, from Areola initially. I think Adingra was obviously disappointed because he put the rebound in. So I think West Ham have actually got away with one.
Yeah, he was bright, wasn't he? 50 seconds, I'm told, for that VAR decision.
Lightning decision.
Well, considering some of the checks we've seen this season, I remember when you and Dance were at the Vitality, was it Bournemouth against Wolves in the FA Cup?
Was that when Dance's head nearly blew off?
7 minutes, was it? Maybe longer.
I think it was 9.
It might have been 9. Ipswich are down to 10 men away at Newcastle. Ben Johnson, former West Ham player, sent off for them. It's still goalless at St James's Park. Newcastle, after Chelsea's win on Talksport earlier today, need the points in that one. A reminder, Southampton lead Fulham 1-0 in the Premier League. Wolves 1, Leicester 0, and it's 1-0 Brighton here. Yassin Ayari with a wonder goal to divide the two sides. And apart from the Soucek header that was fingertipped onto the bar by Verbruggen, we haven't seen too much by way of a West Ham response.
No, it's just been Van Bissaka down that right-hand side, got himself free a couple of times, but final delivery has been really poor. So Belieber and Lewis Dunk, the two centre-halves of Brighton, haven't really been put under any pressure.
Walsall are behind in League 2 by a 1-0 at home to Accrington Stanley. They're in a fight with Bradford and potentially Notts County for the last automatic promotion spot in that division. Had a real cliff dive, haven't they, in the second half of the season. Walsall having been well clear at one stage. Paquetá trying to float the ball into the Brighton penalty. It's cleared away, and looking to release Adingra was Matt O'Reilly, but Wan-Bissaka back there quickly and finds his goalkeeper Areola.
Yeah, it's good recovery on from Wan-Bissaka. You know, you talk about Walsall there, Cookie. Talk about a one-man team. They're an all-time low. They had Nathan Lowe recalled, didn't they, by Stoke from his low. They were 12 points clear when he was playing up front for him, scoring goals all over. I think got 15 goals. Then they've just completely fallen off a cliff.
Yeah, might not even go up this season, which seemed unthinkable a few weeks ago. Here is Areola for West Ham. 1-0 to Brighton into the last 5 minutes in the first half. West Ham yet to come from behind and win in the Premier League this season. They're going to have to change that statistic today if they are to ease some of the pressure that already feels like it's building on Graham Potter. 13 points from his 13 games in charge. They did have that magnificent victory away from home against Arsenal, and it was his tactics really that got that victory, but they haven't built on it. Here's Emerson keeping the ball in play on the chest on this near left touchline. One or two of the home fans already making their way for some half-time refreshment. Fabian Herzl just outside his technical area, looking very animated as usual. As Wan-Bissaka backheels the ball to Kudus, and then Jean-Claire Todibo back to James Ward-Prowse towards the centre circle. 1-0 Brighton lead. And Paquetá rolls it forward. Souček with a little dummy, cleared as far as Ward-Prowse, who's going to switch the play. Lovely ball into Emerson, heads it down first time, looking for Bowen, but picked up by March, and he quickly looks to set Welbeck away, but Jean-Claire Todibo there first. They clearly feel they have a pace advantage here against the West Ham back three, because every time they get the ball in and around their own penalty area, immediately it gets launched upfield.
Yeah, look for Danny Welbeck, obviously try and hold the ball up so he can bring O'Reilly into the game. But West Ham just had their best spell this first half so far. The last 3 or 4 minutes have been dominate possession. Paquetá's getting himself on the ball with James Ward-Prowse, whether they can just have that little bit of creativity.
Here's James Ward-Prowse again, forward to Paquetá, the Brazilian. Little chip into the area, chested down, then volleyed away by Lewis Dunk, who's looked a lot more assured this afternoon than he did at Brentford last week. You are listening to Brighton against West Ham on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car, making a big move or planning a clear out with vans of all shapes and sizes. If you've got a plan, they've got a van.
It is West Ham when they're in possession. Emerson obviously playing as left wing back and Wan-Bissaka as a right wing back. Just push high up, but I think from West Ham's point of view, they've just got to move the ball a little bit quicker.
Here they come down their right hand side. Wan-Bissaka back heeling it, cross from Bowen, looking for Kudus at the near post again. Lewis Dunk there on the stretch and steers it clear. It's brilliant, picked up by Alphonse Areola at the other end.
Brilliant defending from Lewis Dunk. So the ball comes out to that right hand side. Jarrod Bowen just tries to whip it in with his left foot, and sometimes as centre-half rookie you just mark space, you just make sure it doesn't come inside you. Exactly what Lewis Dunk did there, just slid in, big Inspector Gadget, right foot just stretched, cleared the danger.
Here's Emerson, 10 yards outside the Brighton penalty area. West Ham looking for an equaliser before half-time here on Talksport 2. Kilman rolls it down the left-hand side to Souček. Ball is out of play and Souček leaves the throw for Emerson. As it stands, West Ham 36 points from 34 games, 14 clear of Ipswich with only 4 to play, so unless Ipswich win they will be safe in the Premier League. But in any other season, Perry, barring the last couple, 36 points with 4 games to play would have you anxious.
Very much so. When you said Graham Potter's what is it, a point a game he's averaging out of his 13 games, that is a relegation battle, isn't it?
Well, they went down on 42, didn't they, that season when Trevor Brooking was in charge?
Over, exactly, yeah. So I'm just looking at the West Ham players. I wouldn't say it's lack of effort. I just think it's a little bit of lack of belief.
O'Reilly, he's certainly not lacked belief. Been really impressed with the former Celtic man in this first half. He fizzes the pass into March. His first touch was heavy, but he still keeps the ball in play. Solly March. They've slowed it down to a walking pace here, Brighton. Estupiñán with a cross into the area. Welbeck couldn't hook it goalwards, kept alive by Hinchelwood. It's like they're playing with an extra man. Here is Vifa for the Seagulls. We're going to play 2 added minutes, we believe, at the end of the first half. 30 seconds of regulation time remaining. Brighton 1, West Ham 0. I mean, that was a bizarre passage of play. That pass from O'Reilly was maybe a bit overhit. Heavy touch by Solly March, but there was no desire for the West Ham players to close down and make it difficult for Brighton, who just passed it around them.
But what they do is they go back into that flat back 5 and go right out on the 18-yard box, but they don't go and engage the ball. You said there, O'Reilly's sort of drifting in the 10 position. No one's picking him up. He's had a couple of underlaps where James Ward-Prowse just let him go. So when you're a forward, if you're a Dingra, especially on that left-hand side, you know full well that when the ball's pinged out to you, you're going to have that little bit of time to get it under control and go 1v1 against your fullback.
Confirmation on the tannoy there of the 2 added minutes at the end of this first half. Yasin Ayari's 25-yard top corner effort separates the 2 teams, but the reality is Brighton have been comfortable, really, barring that one save that Verbruggen had to make from the Souček header. Here is Vifa down the right, rolling it forward to March. Kilman favourite to get there first, and then just side puts the ball out of play for a Brighton throw down by the corner flag.
Cookie, that all started because Brighton are playing out for the back from Verbruggen. Hinchwood comes deeper. Kudus goes to close down. He looks round. Hinchwood hasn't got a West Ham player within 10 yards of him. Looking at his midfield players, Souček and Ward-Prowse, and saying, well, you've got to be further up the pitch. So Hinchwood just get himself turned. Then he can come out on this right-hand side to Vifa, and he tries to play in Solly Marsh. So from 2 passes, they go from the edge of their own box to the edge of West Ham's box.
George Saville has put Millwall in front at home to Swansea. As it stands, they're level with 6th place Coventry on goal difference. Here is Jarrah Bowen into the penalty area, crosses towards Wan-Bissaka, cleared by Dunk initially, fired back in by James Ward-Prowse, and then Ayari, the goal scorer, coolly away. Here's Paquetá, 5 yards outside the box. Oh, nobody spotted the run of Kudus. He's in behind Vifa. Kudus trying to cut it back. Lewis Dunk is there again. He has had a sensational first half, the Brighton skipper. Brilliant piece of defending once more.
Again, he should make sure he defends near post. Good play from West Ham on this left-hand side. Great little ball from Paquetá, just leaving Kudus, because Vifa just fell asleep and Kudus couldn't quite pick the right pass.
Here's Emerson. West Ham looking to finish the half strongly. We've played most of the 2 added minutes already. Brighton still leading. Will there be time for one last attack? No, there won't. There is the half-time whistle. You can hear 1 or 2 boos coming from the travelling West Ham supporters. 2 managers in desperate need of victory for different reasons this afternoon. Brighton to revive their flagging European hopes. West Ham just to get some momentum heading into next season. It's the home side in front. Yassin Ayari with an absolute blockbuster, 25 yards out into the top corner. Brighton comfortably the better team. Half-time here. It is Brighton 1, West Ham United 0.
Well, Brighton were good for their lead in that first half, that's for sure. Only really showed a bit of promise from West Ham right towards the end of the 45 minutes, apart from that fantastic Verbruggen save onto the crossbar from Souček's header. They look comfortable at the moment, Brighton, Perry.
They look comfortable in possession, they look comfortable out of possession, and I just mentioned that last sort of action that Brighton had just at the end of the first half, where you've got Ayari and Hinchwood are playing the 2 holding midfield players for Brighton. One of them wants to go and get on the ball, so they drop deep, goes into Verbruggen, so that means Bowen goes and closes down, then Kudus, but what Verbruggen does is he rolls it in between them. Kudus looks around and he's thinking, well, where's the rest of my West Ham players? They've got to play another sort of 15-20 yards up the pitch, and they get away easily on the right hand side from Solly Marsh and O'Reilly. So I think this West Ham team, Faye, it's not a lack of effort, but it's a lack of cohesion. You know, I don't think they're sort of half and half team. You know, I don't know if they're a counter-attacking team, if they're a pressing team, and that's made it comfortable for Brighton when they're in possession.
Whose fault is that?
It comes from the manager, it comes from the players, because I can't tell you, I'm looking at Graham Potter, if he wants his team to press, normally you get the actions where with his right arm he tells his back 5 to push up and go and squeeze. He hasn't been doing that. So they've been dangerous-ish down the right-hand side under Wan-Bissaka, but I think there's too many players there that don't want to do that shift when they're out of possession. You know, just that extra yard, just go and close the ball down, and we saw that from Brighton's goal, which is absolute weldy from Ayari.
Yeah, they're into 8th as it stands. Brighton on 51 points. So I think we're at that stage, aren't we, where the Brighton fans all know that European football is still a possibility. Do they shut up shop in the second half or push for a second?
No, I don't think you can. If you shut up shop, you invite pressure on, and then you get a bit of edginess, don't you, in the Amex Stadium. I think they'll play exactly the same. Maybe get out a bit quicker to Dinger on the left-hand side. Solly March obviously hasn't got the pace to go 1v1, but he's good when he's on the ball, so they can keep possession. So I can't see Brighton changing anything in the second half. They'll try and go and get the second goal, because Fabian Herzl, the Brighton manager, said before that they haven't managed games particularly well. So I can't see them change. I'm looking at Graham Potter, and I'm just thinking, is he going to be big enough to get him in at half time and say, okay, I've made not a mistake, don't say it verbally, but say, right, I'm going to put Fulkrug up front, I'm going to put Jarrah Bowen out on the right hand side.
Well, speaking of Nicholas Füllkrug, he has just come out actually to warm up, so I think that might be a half-time substitution. He's got his orange training bib on, out with the S&C coach. Cohn's being put out on the pitch here at the Amex, stretching out. It looks like he could be coming on for the second half to try and get West Ham back into this game. Right, second half coming shortly, but let's look ahead to this weekend's Premier League action with Sky Sports.
Stay ahead of the game on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now. 18 plus, stream via internet, terms apply.
Two big games tomorrow in terms of European football and, of course, the title race. Liverpool could win the title if they avoid defeat tomorrow, Perry. They're up against Tottenham. I think everybody is expecting it to be a steamrollering, easy win for Liverpool, but maybe not.
Yeah, I can't say anything other than a Liverpool win, because if you was a team you wanted to play at home, it would be Spurs. Their record at Anfield isn't particularly great. Also, from their point of view, obviously they've got bigger fish to fry in Europa League sort of semi-finals. So, as a player, there's sort of games if you're a Tottenham player where you don't want to get injured, you know. So even in your challenges, you might not go in from even you're probably running at 90% because you don't have any muscle injuries. So I can't see anything other than a Liverpool win, and we've got to just take our hats off for the fantastic job that Arne Slot has done at Liverpool. They've only lost 2 games all season. You know, he's just tweaked a few things on the philosophy and the style of Liverpool's play. And Mo Salah, his stats this season are off the scale, you know, goals and assists. So they'll be very worthy champ. I know there's people saying, oh, they think the Premier League hasn't been of the highest quality this season. I think you've mentioned there about the teams that are battling to get into the Europa League. I think the middle of the Premier League is the strongest it's ever been.
This is what I keep saying. I think when people are saying that it's not been a strong Premier League season, they're saying it from a very top 6 bias, and I really don't like it. I want a strong league all across the park. And, you know, the fact that Manchester United, there you go, Crookie, sorry about that, have been absolutely terrible this season, and Tottenham Hotspur additionally as well, I think, you know, that's helped things without a shadow of a doubt. In fact, I think you'll like this stat as an Arsenal fan, Perry. Spurs have lost 4 of their last 5 league games, and they're 42 points worse off than league leaders Liverpool.
Yep, as you said there's a little bit of snobbery, I think, around the Premier League. You know, you mentioned about the big clubs, like, so because Manchester United have stunk the place out, Spurs have stunk the place out, and you have to give credit to teams like Brighton, like Brentford, obviously, Crystal Palace, who are brilliantly managed by Oliver Glasner. So as I said, those teams now, you know full well, whether it's home and away, the top teams you're going to have to be at your best to beat them and be competitive with them. So as I say, I'm more impressed with the next tier down, and I think it's brilliant. Nottingham Forest, you know, having a fantastic season where they could get themselves into Champions League. Obviously Chelsea with the young, what I call the development side, got a brilliant win today. They put themselves up in 4th position. Newcastle have been excellent. It's easy to have a drop off after you win your first major trophy for 70 years. They've only lost 1 game since then. So I just think, you know, that tier of the Premier League is stronger than any league in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of Newcastle, Alexander Isak has just scored a penalty to put them 1-0 up at half-time against 10-man Ipswich, who had Benjamin Johnson sent off after 37 minutes for a second yellow card. So that moves Newcastle up to 3rd. And of course, the other game tomorrow is Bournemouth against Manchester United. Bournemouth themselves fighting for European football, currently 2 points off of Brighton. United, another dig for Crookie, looking to avoid a 16th league defeat this season. Right, that was a look ahead to tomorrow's Premier League action with Sky Sports. Don't forget, you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now, just like Bournemouth against Manchester United and Liverpool against Tottenham, live tomorrow. Just search Now Sports.
Stay ahead of the game on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now. 18 plus, stream via internet, terms apply.
You're listening to Talksport 2. It's currently Brighton 1, West Ham 0 in our exclusive 3 p.m. commentary. Next up, we're going to get all the halftime scores from today's 3 p.m s.
Game day exclusive on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Stream more Sky Sports football than ever before. Available with no contract on now. 18 plus, stream via internet, terms apply.
You don't just check in to a village hotel. You work out. You jump in. You play on, you tuck in, and drink up. Village Hotels, 33 locations with everything under one roof. A huge gym with pool and great membership opportunities. And a buzzing pub and grill with delicious food, ice-cold beers and live sport. Check out villagehotels.com and work out, stay, meet and play.
You could skydive out of a plane or swim with sharks. You might even skinny dip in icy cold waters. Or you could get that inexpressible high, that guaranteed rush from finding just the thing you wanted, the thing you needed, at a great sale price. Sale ends soon. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
We all fantasize about our perfect home, watching the big game cozied up in the snug.
Another 7-0 win!
Balmy summer nights with the kids playing on the lawn.
We're playing real-life football!
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
The season is shaping up, and whether they're going for glory or going down, it's all to play for. Get the ultimate football coverage with the Sun's free pull-out Goals! With the best writers pitchside for in-depth match reports, it's all about goals! And with unrivaled news from the Premier League to League Two, it has to be goals! Stay up to date on all the latest football action. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday, only in the Sun.
Screwfix Sprint delivers from store to door in as little as 20 minutes. You've finally found that perfect parking spot and you're ready to start work. But wait, you need a replacement part that's not in your van. Don't sweat it and don't move the van. Get moving on your job and we'll sprint over with exactly what you need before you can say, where's my spirit level? Screwfix Sprint delivers in as little as 20 minutes. Only $4.99 and only on the app. Conditions and geographical restrictions apply. Selected products.
A Minecraft movie has arrived in McDonald's Happy Meal. Help your little ones build their own adventure. Explore the overworld and meet exciting new friends. Some fun, some food, it's all inside this Happy Meal. Until 6th of May from 11 a.m. Includes one pre-selected book or toy. While stocks last, fair ordering policy applies. See mcdonalds.co.uk/Happy Meal.
Game day exclusive with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Rent from the best lineup in the UK. Enterprise has all the vehicles your business needs with the flexibility to rent for minutes or months.
Cometh Saturday, cometh game day.
It's the ultimate heavy-hitting Premier League experience.
Game day exclusive
On Talksport 2.
This is Game Day. Halftime classifieds.
Game day exclusive on Talksport 2. I'm Faye Carruthers. We'll take a look at some of the results from today and all the other half-times from the 3 o'clock, starting with
Premier League.
Earlier it finished Chelsea 1, Everton 0. Chelsea up to 4th at half-time in the 3 p.m. kickoffs. Brighton 1, West Ham 0. Newcastle 1, Ipswich 0. Southampton 1, Fulham 0. Wolves 1, Leicester 0.
Sky Bet Championship.
Earlier it finished QPR 0, Burnley 5. Burnley top of the table before Leeds play on Monday. Luton 1, Coventry 0. Luton out of the relegation places and up to 20th. Coventry stay in that final playoff spot in 6th. But at half-time in the 3 p.m. kickoffs, Blackburn 0, Watford 0. Cardiff 0, West Brom 0. Hull 0, Derby 0. Middlesbrough 0, Norwich 0. Millwall 1, Swansea 0. Oxford United 1, Sunderland 0. Preston 0, Plymouth 1. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Portsmouth 1.
Sky Bet League 1.
It finished Bristol Rovers 0, Reading 2. Rovers stay in the relegation places, Reading in 6th. Leyton Orient 1, Wycombe 0. Wycombe stay 3rd. Orient occupy the final playoff place as it stands. At half-time in the 3 o'clock kickoffs, Barnsley 0, Shrewsbury 1. Burton 1, Cambridge United. No, Burton 0, Cambridge United 0. Crawley 1, Northampton 0. Exeter 1, Huddersfield 1. Peterborough 1, Bolton 1. Stockport 0, Lincoln 2. Wigan 1, Blackpool 0.
Sky Bet League 2.
Earlier, Doncaster and Port Vale were both promoted back to League 1. It finished AFC Wimbledon 0, Port Vale 2, and Doncaster 2, Bradford 1. At half-time in the 3 o'clocks, it also finished Harrogate 1, Notts County 3. That was a 1 o'clock kickoff. In the 3 o'clock half-times, Barrow 1, Bromley 0, Cheltenham 2, Carlisle 1, Chesterfield 1, Morecambe 0, Fleetwood 0, Newport 0, Gillingham 0, Swindon 0, MK Dons 0, Grimsby 0, Salford 3, Colchester 0, Tranmere 1, Crewe 0, Walsall 0, Accrington 1. A reminder as well for you that Celtic beat Dundee United by 5-0 in the Scottish Premiership to win their 55th league title at a canter. The Brighton players are back out here at the Amex Stadium. We'll wait to bring a confirmation of a change potentially for West Ham. We did mention earlier on that Nicholas Füllkrug was warming up for them, and actually he is about to walk onto the pitch. Confirmation of who came off with your commentary team of former Arsenal winger Perry Groves alongside Talksport 2's Alex Crook.
Well, it was interesting to see that the Brighton players were out a good 30 seconds before their West Ham counterparts. So Fabian Hurtler with his team leading by 1-0, keeping that team talk short and sweet. As you spotted, Faye, Nicholas Füllkrug, who was warming up throughout the interval, is on for this second half. James Ward-Prowse is the change. So I'd imagine Perry Groves. Paquetá will go and sit alongside Thomas Souček. Kudus and Bowen part of the front three now, with Füllkrug as the focal point.
Yeah, very much so. And I think that's Graham Potter actually admitting that I made a mistake. We talked about Füllkrug in his head, we're thinking, should never left me out in the first place, mate. So now he's got a point to prove. He's got a point coming on that he can turn this game around for West Ham. Jared Bowen will be really pleased, Crookie, because he'll obviously come onto the right hand side where he's far more productive. Then Kudus will go just to the left of Füllkrug.
Was a goal and 2 assists in his last 3 appearances, Nicholas Füllkrug. He is on as the second half gets underway here on Talksport 2. Brighton in their home colours of the blue and white striped shirts, blue shorts and white socks, shooting from right to left. Straight away, Adingra is running at Wan-Bissaka into the penalty area, crosses towards the far post. Danny Welbeck swings a leg and it couldn't get there, and the chance has gone initially. Mats Vifa, the right back, who has spent a lot of time in opposition territory, keeps Brighton on the front foot. West Ham all in black, attacking the goal away to our right. There were some boos from that end. The travelling away fans clearly not happy with West Ham's performance in the opening 45 minutes. Here is a cross from Estupiñán into the penalty area, nodded away by Kilman this time, and a throw in for Brighton.
Did you mean booze as in pantomime booze, or booze as in alcohol? Because probably both.
Probably both. I thought it was enough to turn those travelling supporters to drink, I would imagine. Their recent run of form anyway, no wins in 6 as it stands, 17th in the table. They're not going to be relegated, but they would be in big trouble in any other season, any normal season. A reminder of the scores from elsewhere this afternoon. Chelsea beat Everton by 1-0 live on Talksport. Southampton 1-0 up against Fulham. That would be a blow to Fulham's European charge, and a positive as far as Brighton are concerned if it stays that way. Wolseley already relegated Leicester 1-0, and Newcastle 1-up at home to Ipswich. Here's Adingra into the penalty area, looks to try and pick out O'Reilly. West Ham belatedly smuggle it clear with Paquetá in the right back position. If Ipswich do lose today, even if West Ham are beaten here, they will mathematically be safe as a Premier League club for another season. Powerful burst into the area by Belieber, and then he slipped over his own feet on the edge of the 6-yard box. West Ham have a goal kick, but we've played more than 2 minutes of the second half, and it's been played exclusively, Perry Groves, inside the West Ham half of the field.
Well, Crookie, I saw his face, and he's not a believer, because as he's picked the ball up, he's run fully 25-30 yards. He's done again the foot-overs. He doesn't need to do the foot-overs because there's nobody around. And what he's done is, Crookie, he's done the foot-overs, tipped the ball with his left foot and knocked it out of play. But as you said there wasn't one West Ham player who actually engaged him within probably 10 yards.
Good turn from Bowen, gets away from Ayari, quickly comes forward upfield. He was fouled by Hinshelwood. Referee's going to play an advantage. Graham Potter down below us in his tracksuit. The West Ham manager wanted the free kick, but play continues. Here is Paquetá, the Brazilian, out to Wan-Bissaka on the right-hand side, level with the 18-yard line. Bowen's made a dart into the area. Can he get the cut back here? Jarrod Bowen, not a bad delivery, and steered in by Kudus in front of the West Ham fans. And within 3 minutes of the restart, against the run of play, Graham Potter's side are level on his old stomping ground. Mohamed Kudus with the final touch, but all the credit to Jarrod Bowen for the clever run across the penalty area and the perfect pullback. Brighton 1, West Ham 1.
Well, kudos to Kudus, because you said there West Ham have worked it really well. Paquetá out to Wan-Bissaka. Jarrod Bowen goes on the underlap. No one follows his run. He gets himself to the byline, gets it onto his left foot. Can he pick the right pass out? Yes, he can, because Kudus comes in from that left-hand side and just lets it run across his body with his right foot. He's actually gone through the legs of Bart Verbruggen. The goalkeeper's going to be unbelievably disappointed, Crookie, because at first it looked like that Kudus had put it into empty net. It actually put it back towards the way that Verbruggen was coming, and he's gone for the long barrier, and it's gone through his legs. So that is 100% a goalkeeping error. Very well worked from West Ham. Shocking goalkeeping from Verbruggen.
And that is just the response that Graham Potter would have wanted to his half-time words of wisdom and that change he made. Fulcrum leading the line in attack now. Jarrod Bowen operating in that pocket just behind the big German striker. And even though they barely had a kick since half-time, West Ham are back on level terms. At that point, even if Ipswich win at Newcastle, would definitely keep them in the Premier League for another season. Ball behind for a corner after it was played down the line by Vifa to Solly March. Turned behind by Emerson, a chance for Lewis Dunk to come forward from the back. Fabian Herzler, after what he was saying pre-match about his side's lack of ability to manage games in which they take the lead, will be so frustrated. They've already been pegged back so soon after half-time. Here comes the corner. O'Reilly delivered to the far post. Vifa's header, great save. Areola might come for Lewis Dunk. Left foot volley is blocked by Wan-Bissaka. Areola with a brilliant acrobatic stop. Estupinian with a cross back into the area, nodded away by Paquetá. Certainly earned his wages there, Perry, the West Ham keeper.
Brilliant save from Areola. Really good header from Vifa, just putting the ball back across the way it came from. Looked like it was going to go across Areola, and he's just got two big palms to it and palmed it away, enabled West Ham to clear the danger.
Brighton 1, West Ham 1 on Talksport 2 on this busy Saturday, both in the Premier League and the EFL penultimate week of the season, the Championship League 1 and League 2. And Lewis Dunk, the Brighton captain, has the ball inside the centre circle.
Just looking at Brighton quicker, they went all West Ham there off the ball because no one tracked the run of Jarrod Bowen, so Ayari or Hinchwood's got to go with him.
Hinshelwood into Ayari on the edge of the penalty area. Now Solly March, left-footed delivery towards the far post. Really important clearance by Todibo. Hinshelwood flying in, hurls a water bottle in frustration. Todibo facing his own goal, had to make the clearance.
Yeah, good response from Brighton. Solly March is feeding it in with his left foot. Jack Hinshelwood coming in with his false nose and glasses, trying to get in behind Todibo. Really good defending from Todibo. Made sure that he got his shoulder out at a 45-degree angle, managed to hook it with his left foot, corner for Brighton on the left-hand side.
Yeah, Brighton, to their credit, after conceding, have certainly put the foot on the accelerator once more, looking to get back in front here, in front of their own fans at the Amex Stadium. 1-1. We've played 52 minutes. Ayari, scorer from 25 yards out in the first half, is about to take the corner from the left-hand side. Vifa with a header from Brighton's last set piece, acrobatically kept out by Areola, is loitering round about the 6-yard mark. In fact, maybe a bit further back than that. Lewis Dunk is going to make a late run into the box as well. Estupinian in space outside the 18-yard area. It's whipped in towards the near post and it's cleared as far as March. March being urged to shoot by the home supporters, does so left-footed from the right-hand side, blocked by Emerson, and then it spoons away for a throw over on the far touchline.
Yeah, it's a good defend from West Ham. They've gone zonal, but Brighton have just taken a quick throw over on their right-hand side into Danny Welbeck.
A goal in the Championship at Ewood Park. Blackburn 0, Watford 1. Matty Pollock has scored it. At last Championship playoff places going to be up for grabs and some on the final day of the season with results as they stand. Believer slips as he tries to make his way towards the penalty area. Loose ball from Hinshelwood, steered into Adingra. Adingra into the box now, onto his right foot. He's going to try and curl one. Took a deflection. Brighton have a corner. And the noise levels go up again inside the Amex.
Yeah, Brighton moved the ball very quickly out to Adingra on this left-hand side. Estupinian goes on the overlap. That takes the two West Ham defenders with him. Adingra comes inside, tries to get onto his right foot to curl it in Ario's top left-hand corner. Really good block from Souček, corner for Brighton over on their right-hand side.
Yeah, they have caused problems throughout the afternoon with these set pieces. Lewis Dunk trying to make a dart to the far post, heads it goalwards. Areola spilt it, and then it's smuggled clear, I think by Fulkrug, back doing his defending. Here's Welbeck now. West Ham under big pressure since that equaliser from Kudus. Here is Lewis Dunk in the left wing position. Steers his cross towards the far post, headed up but not really away by Souček, and then Kudus should be able to run it clear, and he slaloms away from a couple of challenges. Kudus still going towards the halfway line, into Bowen, gets it back again. Kudus, Fulkrug onto the Ghanaian, and sliding in was Ayari before Dunk helped it back to the goalkeeper for Bruggen.
That was really unlucky from Kudus because he rode 3 or 4 challenges there, got it into Fulkrug. In the end, it was really good recovery run from Lewis Dunk, just slid in, took the ball off his toe. You can hear the Brighton fans trying to egg their team on. The game has actually gone up a level, Crookie, isn't it? With the passing's been a lot sharper, a lot quicker. West Ham have been a lot sharper and quicker to the Brighton when they're in possession, and it's actually worked. The goal came, Crookie, from West Ham because Jarrod Bowen didn't have his back to goal, because he's actually running in that inside right position towards the goal, and he just looked a lot more lively already in the second half.
And he just linked up neatly there with Fulkrug. Bowen into the penalty area. Well done, Believer. From behind, had to time that tackle to perfection. Does so and sweeps the ball clear. 1-1 it remains. Now it's West Ham's turn to ask some questions of Brighton defensively, maybe, but that was a poor ball into Tadibo. One back by Adingra. Wan-Bissaka goes to ground. It's not going to be a foul, I don't think. It'll be a throw-in on this near side. That last Championship playoff place, Perry, with Millwall leading at home to Swansea, Borough currently drawing at home to Norwich, Coventry beaten by Luton live on Talksport 2 earlier today. Bristol City don't play until Monday. They're up against already promoted Leeds. Bristol City in 5th, 67 points. Coventry and Millwall 66, Middlesbrough on 64. What a final day it can be in the Championship.
Is it next Saturday, all 12:30 kickoffs?
All 12:30. We will be live at one of those big games with reporters at all the others. Cardiff are going down as it stands this afternoon. Bottom of the table, Plymouth leading. Goal difference means they're unlikely to survive, but mathematically could still do it. Derby and Hull are drawing. So at the bottom of the table, Derby, third from bottom, 47 points. Luton just above the dotted line. Preston and Hull all on 49. Stoke on 50.
Is it Luton away at West Bromwich Albion? The last game of the season?
Big shake of the head, nod of the head rather, from Faker or others.
Big smile on Faye's face. It's in Luton's hands at the moment. Exactly where you want it going into the last game of the season.
And Brighton hoping to keep their fate in their own hands with a victory here against West Ham United as they try and gate crash the European spots. 1-1 though at the moment. Bowen with the free kick into the area, onto the head of Mavropanos, but couldn't generate any power and just nods it wide for a goal kick for the home team. You are listening to Brighton against West Ham on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now, like Bournemouth, Manchester United and Liverpool, Tottenham, live tomorrow. Search Now Sports. You enjoying those jelly babies?
Sugar rush. Just going to be a little lift. When they said that Luton were at West Brom, Faye was like Churchill's dog there, was it? Nodding there, yep, that's where they are.
Big news, by the way, from the first of the FA Cup semi-finals, live on Talksport. They're an hour from kick-off. Aston Villa against Crystal Palace. Marcus Rashford not in the Aston Villa squad, I'm being told.
Well, you hope from Marcus Rashford's point of view that it's a minor injury.
Big chance for Ollie Watkins to make his point to Unai Emery. That game live on Talksport. We've got the second semi-final live tomorrow on Talksport. 4:30 kick-off between Manchester City looking to reach their third final in a row. And Nottingham Forest, who haven't won the FA Cup since 1959, Forest. Perry remembers it well.
Long shorts. Woodbine at half-time. Charles.
57, the last time Villa won it. Palace have never won the FA Cup. Are we going to get a new name on the trophy? Big weekend ahead at Wembley. Big last half an hour or so here for Brighton. And you do feel with that run of games they've got to come, if they are going to get back in a European place, they really have to win here against a West Ham side, fourth from bottom in the Premier League table, and who almost never beat the Seagulls. Here is Estupinian out to Adingra, level with the 18-yard line, near side as we look. And then Estupinian's ball in towards Welbeck is cleared by Soucek before Paquetá is bundled over by O'Reilly. Their last 4 games, Brighton: Newcastle at home next Sunday, Wolves away, Wolves in brilliant form, Liverpool, the soon-to-be champions, at home, and then Tottenham away on the last day of the season.
Well, they'll hope that Liverpool have their flip-flops on, wouldn't they, with their rubber rings and armbands. So Spurs was away from home. Isn't like the most difficult place to go and play. But I'm just looking here now, coming up to an hour played, and it's just gone a little bit flat the last 5 minutes, Brighton's point of view. So Fabian Hertzler, the Brighton manager, has got to make some changes. Got Mitoma on the bench.
Well, they're giving it away on the edge of the area, Brighton. Ball from Verbruggen. Bowen closed down by Believe, but still finds Paquetá out to Wan-Bissaka inside the box. Right-footed shot. And an uncomfortable save down to his left at the near post by Verbruggen. Corner for West Ham, and changes a foot just down below us. We're right behind the home dugout. Karu Mitoma and Yankuba Minte both are about to come on for Brighton.
Yeah, good play from West Ham. Jarrod Bowen looking lively, getting to Paquetá, and then he just in that 10 position, just toe poked out to Wan-Bissaka. Really good shot actually, should go across for Bruggen. Good save from Bruggen, low down to his right hand side, corner for West Ham on their right.
He has scored a couple of goals, Wan-Bissaka, since his £15 million summer move from Manchester United. That was a difficult save that Verbruggen had to make. Emerson with a corner towards the far post, good header away by Adingra. Kudus on the left foot volley blocked. Good technique from the West Ham scorer, and he's still in possession here. Floats across the far post. Emerson there above Estupinian, and then it's swept away by their goal scorer Ayari. 1-1 with 61 minutes on the clock here. Adingra and Solly March are going to be replaced, so both wide men going off here for Brighton with half an hour to play, Perry.
Yeah, it was a good decision from Fabian Hertzler. He's got to be seen to be doing something proactive. Solly March, obviously first start, looking a bit leggy in this second half. Adingra has had a bit of the ball on the left-hand side, but his end product hasn't been of the highest quality. So basically be like for like substitutions.
Newcastle double their lead against Ipswich. Dan Burn, hero of their EFL Cup final victory, has got the second. It's Wolves 2, Leicester 0. Jorgen Strand-Larsen with the goal. He's had a decent first season in Premier League football, and that will confirm what we've known for a while. Ipswich Town will be joining Leicester and Southampton in the Championship next season. Southampton a goal up on Fulham, but already down. Here's Bowen, brings the ball down his chest. He's into the penalty area. Jarrod Bowen cuts it back. Wan-Bissaka gets underneath the shot, 12 yards out and into the West Ham fans as Graham Potter applauds his team. Here come those 2 Brighton changes, and they've certainly posed a lot more threat with an actual centre forward on the pitch, West Ham.
Well, it's because Fulkrug engages the 2 centre-halves, Believer and Dunk. That's given Jarrod Bowen a little bit more space. He looks far more comfortable cricketing on this right-hand side. To be fair, Estupinian did really well there, because Bowen wanted to get it onto his left foot. Estupinian just made sure that he couldn't get his shot away. Come to Wan-Bissaka, just smashed it high over the crossbar, and now you've got the 2 substitutes coming on for Brighton.
Confirmation, Ollie Watkins does start for Aston Villa in that FA Cup semi-final over on Talksport. No Marcus Rashford in the matchday squad. Mateta, having scored a brilliant goal against Arsenal for Palace in the week, he starts as well. He was left on the bench for that game, so both teams pretty much at full strength. Live commentary on Talksport in around about an hour's time. As Jean-Claire Denibo, under pressure from Estupinian, and Mitoma on this near side, clears the ball out for a throw. They've used 31 players this season, Brighton, more than any other team in the Premier League.
But also, this is a bit like the pupils against the teachers, isn't it? Because West Ham have the oldest average age starting 11, and Brighton have the second youngest.
Yeah, you wonder if that could prove telling on a warm afternoon in the Sussex Downs. 1-1 at the moment. Ball forward towards Danny Welbeck, but cleared away by Kilman. And Emerson rolls it down the left-hand side to Kudus, who's been much more lively since half-time. He's got the equaliser and has a spring in his step now. Mohamed Kudus, a big target for the Saudi Pro League this summer. As Wan-Bissaka gets away from Matoma on the West Ham right, and then into Paquetá, little dink over the top, looking for Fulkrug, nods it down, and then the effort low into the ground by Souček. Verbruggen spilt the initial effort, but the offside flag was up. But already, Perry, you're seeing there, Fulkrug against Belieber is a mismatch.
Yeah, it is, but Fulkrug obviously has gone a little bit too early, but also what's happened, Crook, as well, because Paquetá is playing a little bit deeper, he looks more comfortable. So West Ham are starting to get a little bit more control in the central areas. Jared Bowen, as I say, has got something to play off, but Fulkrug's just got to make sure that he times his run a little bit better. And it's an interesting little match-up on this left-hand side for Brighton, the right-hand side for West Ham, obviously with Wan-Bissaka playing as the right wing-back. I think you'll find that Matoma a couple of times might find himself 1v1 up against Todibo.
Fabian Herzler is deep in conversation with the fourth official down in front of us, Simon Hooper. Not happy clearly with something there, maybe again the lateness of the flag. But the free kick has been taken short to the edge of the penalty area.
But the thing is that the fourth official is a bit like an appendix, like he's there but he can't do anything, so what's the point of having a guy at him?
I would say he's a bit like a marriage guidance counsellor at times, with the two managers either side chewing away at his ear.
You just nod, don't you, and pretend that you're listening, and really in your head you're thinking, leave me alone.
Here's Hinchelwood, rolls the ball into Estupiñán in the penalty area, fires it into the side netting and out for a goal kick. It stays 1-1.
That's really poor from Estupiñán, because Brighton work it really well from the centre. Just Hinchelwood, just a little give and go, just rolls it out to Estupiñán, and what he's got to be doing, Crook, is firing it across the 6-yard box. He's got Danny Welbeck, who's unmarked in the middle, goes to glory, tries to smash it near post, and if you're going to do it, make the goalkeeper make a save.
So Brighton 1, West Ham 1 into the last 25 minutes of normal time. Are we going to get a winner this afternoon? It's the draws that have really undermined Brighton this season and their European aspirations. They've actually won more games this season, or the same number of wins this season, as they racked up last season. Of course, this is their fifth but final match. But only two teams have played out more stalemates, Arsenal being one of them. 12 draws for Brighton, Perry, across the course of the campaign.
Is it 13 draws for Arsenal?
And 14 for Everton. So they're a hard team to beat, Brighton, but they don't win enough, basically. Here's Bowen into the penalty area. Paquetá's going to look for the cut back to the far post, and he couldn't keep it in play. It's behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, the Brighton players all stopped because they thought that the ball had gone out of play. Paquetá showing really good, happy feet just in front of us on this right-hand side. Just link up again with Jared Bowen. Just overhit it a little bit. Went to the byline, couldn't get his cross to the far post. But again, that all started because the ball went into Fulkrug, who's playing up front. He just chests it, gets in front of Belieber, then it goes to Kudus. West Ham can keep possession.
Oxford have got a second at home to Sunderland in the Championship. Oxford 2, Sunderland 0. Sunderland will be in the playoffs. Oxford will be safe as a Championship team for another season. As the Brighton fans offer extra vocal encouragement here. Salford now 4 up on Perry's old club Colchester in League 2. Looks like Carl Robinson's side are going to be heading for the playoffs.
Yeah, just looking, you can hear the frustration. Jack Hinchelwood's got the ball. He's just got to roll it out to Lewis Dunk, who's 20 yards away from him. He just puts it out of play. So that means that Brighton can't get any momentum in their attacking intent.
Areola clearing the ball upfield from the edge of his own penalty area. Wan-Bissaka tried to get something on it, but Estupiñán hooks it forward to Ayari, the Brighton goal scorer in the first half. Cancelled out by Mohamed Kudus early in the second to give us this 1-1 score. Matoma in a race for pace and brawn with Jean-Claire Todibo, tries to put it back for Estupiñán. Paquetá sliding in, concedes a throw, taken quickly by Matoma, the Japanese international. And there's some space here for O'Reilly on the edge of the area, looking for Welbeck at the far post. Important header away by Emerson. Minte, the summer signing from Newcastle, sprints but can't keep it in play, takes the throw in quickly. They're in a hurry here, Brighton. They know how precious a late winner could be in their pursuit of European football. Here's Matoma, left edge of the penalty area, running at Wan-Bissaka, trying to cut the cross back low towards O'Reilly, cleared as far as Ayari on the edge of the area. Now Hinshelwood, the academy product, rolls it out to his right, and Vifa. Good spell this from Brighton, trying to pick their way through. Minte into the penalty area, gets to the byline, cuts the cross back, it's cleared, and it's going to be a Brighton throw down by the right corner flag.
Yeah, you can just again hear Brighton fans getting behind their team, because in the wide areas now, Matoma and Minte looking to go 1v1, looking to go on the outside.
Feels like a goal is coming for Brighton. Crossed into the box, headed over his own crossbar by Mavropanos for a corner.
Good defending in the end from Mavropanos, just making sure he gets first contact on the ball. But Minte again in that inside right position with his left foot, just trying to bend it to the far post to Matoma. Brighton just trying to exert that little bit pressure.
Yassin Ayari to take the corner from this near side. Brighton 1, West Ham 1 on Talksport 2. Ayari puts his right arm in the air. It's swung in towards the far post, towering header away by Kilman. Baliba back out to Estupiñán on the left. He's going to cut in his right foot here, the Ecuadorian. Good ball to the far post. Hinshelwood tries to cushion it down inside the box, didn't make clean contact. It's cleared, but only as far as Yankuba Minte, the substitute. Deep delivery. Ayari heads it down inside the area. Dunk was arriving, couldn't get on the end of it, and it's away. Agonising for Brighton.
Excellent cross from Minte again from that right hand side with his left foot, just swing it out to Ayari. Ayari just trying to head it back across to Lewis Dunk. Good block up near post from Wan-Bissaka. Brighton recycle the ball.
And a deep delivery from Matoma. Again, it got a flick off a West Ham head, and again it's going to be a Brighton corner. Yeah, they are very much in the ascendancy here.
Yeah, Brighton swarming all over West Ham like seagulls round a fish and chip wrapper.
Corner from the right hand side. Matt O'Reilly, the Danish international, just places the ball down in the apex. Home fans behind the goal on their feet, trying to suck this ball into Areola's net. 1-1 is the score. O'Reilly up in the air. There was a Brighton player, Welbeck, who went down inside the box. Half-hearted penalty appeals. In the end, it just goes behind. It's going to be a goal kick.
Yeah, it's a really poor corner from O'Reilly with his left foot from that right-hand side. Well, I suppose out, you want to just try and ease it under Areola's crossbar to make him make a decision. Just should be hitting a little 7-iron in there. And basically, he's hit a 3-iron and just smashed it right to the far post. Just swung out of play. Just takes the sting out of the attacking formation from Brighton.
Here's Hinshelwood playing the ball forward. Minte into the penalty, slipped as he tries to cut it back and puts his hands on his head as Emerson gets it away. Not very far though. O'Reilly, left-footed delivery. Matoma was lurking at the far post. Estupiñán with a shot. Well struck from the edge of the area, but straight into the arms of Areola. Anywhere else, and West Ham could have been in trouble.
Yes, again, cross comes in from Riley, this time from the right-hand side. Headed out by Todibo, comes to Estupiñán on the edge of the box. It's a good controlled half-volley crook actually with his left foot. Goes straight at Areola. Good positioning from the goalkeeper, just making sure he got his angles right. 18
minutes to find a winner. Kudus in the centre circle, trying to relieve some of the Brighton pressure. Out to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He's got options in the centre, finds Kudus on the edge of the area. Wanted to continue his run, Wan-Bissaka. Goes down under the challenge from Estupiñán. West Ham say that's a foul. Referee agrees with Brighton. Actually, he just ran into his marker, and Brighton now will come forward with Karu Matoma. Here's Lewis Dunk. Ayari with a switch of play out to the right-hand side. Gomez being ready for Brighton. Diego Gomez, the young Paraguayan, about to come on. Here's Hinshelwood, just outside the D on the edge of the area. Right-footed effort over the bar. Took a deflection. It's going to be another Brighton corner.
Yeah, again, West Ham just sitting deeper and deeper on the edge of the 18-yard box. Just comes into Hinchwood from O'Reilly. Good first touch, gets it out of his feet. Just tries to bend it in Ariola's top left-hand corner. In the end, it was a good block from Todibo. Corner for Brighton over on their right-hand side.
They have scored plenty of late winners this season, Brighton, particularly here at home. They're searching for one now with 73 minutes play. Corner in towards Lewis. Dunk heads it to the far post. Good header clear by Mavropanos, and then volleyed upfield by Mohamed Kudus for West Ham. Baliba knocks it back towards the penalty area, and Kudus clears it away again. Brighton 1, West Ham 1. The current score. For all the latest odds, head to William Hill, the official betting partner of Talksport 2's Premier League coverage, where right now Brighton 17-10 to win the game. West Ham 4-1. The draw is even money. That's all thanks to William Hill. 18+. BigGambleAware.org. Tell you what, it's been a good game. It's been a good watch. I said to you before, this has got 1-1 written all over it. You said no, it's going to be good. We might both be right.
Yeah, it has been. The tempo's been good. Second half, the tempo's been a little bit higher, and that's because West Ham have come out and had more intent out of position and in possession. They've just looked a bit better balanced. And then Brighton obviously put their two wide men on, Mitoma and Minte, to see if they can craft themselves a winner.
Fulkrug there trying to switch the play for West Ham, and Minte heads it back to Verbruggen, who has to come sliding out to stop the ball going behind for a corner. Big intake of breath from Fabian Herzler down in front of us. Likes to play paddle tennis down on the seafront in his spare time. He's going to be whacking the ball extra hard in the morning if Brighton don't go on and win this game, you'd imagine.
Well, he's going to hope that Brighton can serve himself up a winner.
Very good. Fulham have equalised at St Mary's 1-1. Emil Smith Rowe, the goal scorer. A point would see Southampton surpass Derby's record low tally, so they'd probably take that, but they were in front for a long time down on the south coast. Simon Rusk and the former Brighton midfielder Adam Lallana in charge of the managerial duties. Brighton struggling to get out here. Kudus on the edge of the penalty area eventually is dispossessed by Vifa. Clever little hold-up play by Danny Welbeck, and then Minte out to the left and Mitoma just waiting for a bit of support on this near side. He gets it with Estupinian. His cross is headed away by Mavropanos, so I think he's had a really good game actually. Mavropanos at the heart of that West Ham defence.
Yeah, his positional play's been very good, just standing in between Todibo and Kilman. Just looking there, it was a really good chance of a counter-attack there from Brighton. Comes out to Minte, and if he puts it in front of Mitoma, he's 1v1 with Todibo, and he actually put it behind him.
Long ball upfield by Todibo. Baliba got to get there ahead of Bowen. He didn't really, but just about got enough purchase on his back pass to find Verbruggen. Brighton hearts were in mouths for a moment. 76 gone, 1-1 at the Amex Stadium.
I think Baliba's heart was in his mouth as well, because he was off balance quickly when as he jumped up in the air, he studs.
Yeah, it was certainly an awkward one, particularly when you're playing out of position at centre half as he is today. Webster, Van Hecker both unavailable. I'm not convinced they have that much faith that Aaron Cashin, the January signing from Derby, is quite ready to play regularly in the Premier League at this moment.
He's only played one game, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's on the bench this afternoon, but opting for a central midfielder instead alongside Dunk. Hinshelwood toe pokes the ball forward to Ayari. Ayari 25 yards from goal into Welbeck. Recycles possession to Vifa. And now Welbeck trying to cut it back for Ayari inside the area. Clear, but only back to Danny Welbeck again. Vifa into Hinshelwood. Hinshelwood on the edge of the box finds Estupinian. He's being urged to shoot by the Brighton fans. Lays it off to his left and Mitoma instead. Little scoop ball inside footed is headed clear. And then Jarrah Bowen can't get the ball away. One back by Mitoma down by the left corner flag. Estupinian with a cross over the head of Bowen, who rather ducked out the way, but West Ham have got it clear up to Fulkrug, and he's found Kudus. Kudus against Baliba, just got the ball stuck under his studs, Mohamed Kudus, and that allows Brighton to get players back, but he's out-muscled Estupinian. Kudus, he's left him on the turf, and then he's been tripped from behind. West Ham have a free kick around about 15 yards outside the box. Jamie Vardy, who announced this week he's leaving Leicester City, has just missed a penalty. They trail Wolverhampton Wanderers by 2-0.
We're just looking at West Ham, Crookie. When they're under pressure, they defend the edge of the but they're leaving Fulkrug up front, because it means they can get out. And that's what happened there when they cleared the ball. Fulkrug gets hold of it, he brings it out to Kudus out on this right hand side, got brilliant feet, just enables West Ham to relieve that little bit of pressure. And then Kudus gets pulled down for a free kick in a dangerous position now, which Paquetá's going to just ease in to the Brighton box with his left foot.
12 minutes to go, 1-1. Paquetá with the delivery into the area. Deep one to the far post, headed down inside the box and acrobatically cleared off the line by O'Reilly. The flag was up already, but that was absolutely brilliant defending.
Yeah, it was a great free kick actually from Paquetá. Said he's easing it into the box with his left foot. Just Souček just gone far too early. Just got to make sure he looks across the line. He said there, it was brilliant defending from O'Reilly, because as the ball dropped down, it looks like it's going to bounce over the line. He's acrobatically just got rid of it with his left foot.
I think if I tried to do that, I'd snap in half, to be honest. That was sensational.
Crook, if you tried to do that, there'd be an earthquake.
A bit worried about how I'm going to get out of this press box, to be honest, let alone try and clear one off the line with the overhead kick. Here's Welbeck, plays it out to the right-hand side, and Vifa, 1-1 with seagulls flying overhead here at the Amex. Now Hinshelwood, out to the left-hand side, and Purvis Estupiñán, 5 yards from the penalty area. Hinshelwood is going to switch the play again out to the right. Fabian Herzl, very demonstrative down in front of us, the Brighton manager. Clearly wants to get his point across to Purvis Estupiñán, maybe to move the ball a bit quicker.
I think he wants him to get a little bit wider, just get his feet on the touchline.
And here he is, left-hand side Estupiñán. Again, the cross is a little bit deep. And Kudus flicks it away from Vifa. Good challenge from Yankuba Minto to stop that counter-attack, and it's with Emerson now in the left-back position for West Ham. It stays 1-1. Are we going to get a winner in the final 10 minutes here on Talksport 2?
Well, to be fair, Crookie, both teams are actually going for, and obviously it means more to Brighton because they want to get themselves in the European positions, but West Ham, when they're in possession, they're committing players forward.
Blackburn 2, Watford 1. Tyrese Dolan has turned it around at Ewood Park in the Championship. Blackburn 8 in the table, but I was going to say probably too far behind, but they're only a point off Coventry in 6th. Coventry beaten at Luton earlier today, so you can have Blackburn Rovers into what's going to be a frantic final day scramble for a playoff place in the Championship.
Yeah, Jack Hinchwood just getting a yellow card from Darren England because as he slipped over Wan-Bissaka, looked like he was going to get away from him, and Hinchwood just dragged him back.
Plymouth have doubled their lead at Preston, also in the Championship, 2-0. Callum Wright with a second, probably too little too late as far as the Pilgrims are concerned. Goal difference is heavily stacked against the team from Devon. And Walsall down to 10 men and losing in League 2, losing their grip of an automatic promotion spot. 1-1 here at the Amex. Gomez is again being ready to come on, former teammate of Lionel Messi at Inter Miami over in the MLS. And he always adds something to the game, Perry, when he comes on. Gomez looks another real talent at Brighton and their data-driven recruitment model have unearthed.
Yep, well, he'll go on in the centre midfield. He's one of them ones who likes to move the ball on very quickly. I think Fabian Herzl, after the game, he'll be disappointed that the quality from the wide areas, because they've worked the ball really well to Minto in this second half and Mitoma on this left-hand side, but the quality of the crossing has been really poor. It's either hit the first man or it's gone too far over the far post.
Faye just made a good point actually that Plymouth win will drag Preston into the relegation dogfight on the final day of the season. She obviously goes to bed every night studying the relegation battle in the Championship, but they have really fallen away, haven't they? Only a couple of points above Derby, third from bottom in the table, Preston North End. Brojan Gruder is also going to come on. Hinshelwood and O'Reilly, the two players who will be replaced. And Vladimir Soufal is going to come on for West Ham very shortly in place of Jean-Claire Todibo as well. Soufal, whose contract is coming to an end, and I wrote about his future in my notebook on the Talksport website this week. Doesn't look as if he'll be offered a new deal. They turned down a bid from Fulham for Vladimir Soufal during the January window, West Ham.
Yeah, he's been a really good servant, has he, along with Souček. You know, they both came together. So they've been stalwarts for West Ham, but I think it's just time's caught up with him as far as the Premier League is concerned.
Jarrod Bowen on the edge of the Brighton penalty area. Out to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who is always a willing runner. Little back heel to get away from Gomez. Bowen's going to cross left-footed to the far post. Souček with the header! And West Ham United may just have stolen the points and put a huge dent in Brighton's hopes of European football next season. It was a wicked delivery from Jarrod Bowen, and Thomas Souček heads West Ham into the lead in front of the travelling fans. Is Graham Potter about to have the last laugh on his former club here at the Amex? It is Brighton 1, West Ham 2. Potter is the coolest man inside the stadium.
Well, that's a bullseye from Bowen. Worked really well on this right-hand side from West Ham. Little back heel from Aaron Wan-Bissaka to Jarrod Bowen. You know he wants to get it onto his left foot. With his left foot, he just swings the ball. Brilliant delivery to the far post. Souček gets away from his marker, completely unmarked. Diving header from Souček gives Verbruggen absolutely no chance. You have to say that's a quality goal from West Ham, and it's a quality bit of movement as well from Souček on that far post. Now can we see if Brighton can react, because they are under pressure now to get themselves in those European places.
8 goals for the season for Thomas Souček. His future at West Ham may be in doubt. His love from the West Ham fans most certainly isn't. And with 8 minutes remaining, West Ham United hit the front for the first time. Brighton in desperate need of goals in the minutes that remain. And they've taken the lead, West Ham, a little over a minute after Brighton have made that double change. They're still going to bring on Soufal just to shore it up defensively, the Hammers. Just look at that away end, Perry Groves, a sea of claret and sky blue. Many of them have got their shirts above their heads. They've not had too much to sing about this season. Safe to say they enjoyed that one.
Crooked, they can actually see the cross from Jarrod Bowen. It's actually coming towards them, it's bending towards them, and they're thinking Souček is completely unmarked. So they've got that exalted like feeling of maybe a second, 2 seconds of seeing that their team's going to score. It's really poor marking from Belieber and Lewis Dunk, because Souček's completely unmarked from 3 yards. And we said about the quality in the wide areas where Brighton have been lacking. Jarrod Bowen comes out to the right hand side, 2 assists. Football's not that complicated, Crookie, sometimes, is it?
Sometimes people try their best to overcomplicate it, don't they? 2-1 West Ham. Newcastle have got a third against Ipswich. William Asula, the youngster, with it. Ipswich will have their relegation rubber stamped this afternoon, joining Leicester and Southampton in the Championship. Leicester 2-0 down at Wolves. Jamie Vardy has missed a penalty. Southampton 1, Fulham 1. The latest score from St Mary's. And here at the Amex, we've got less than 5 minutes of normal time to play. It is Brighton 1, West Ham United 2.
Now as well, at the end of the game, Graham Potter will be seen as a tactical genius, leaving Fulkrug out, then bring her on in the second half, put him up front. Paquetá comes a little bit deeper, and West Ham get a little bit more control of the ball, a bit more quality going forward. So you have to say, from Graham Potter's point of view, that he's actually been big enough to think, actually no, I've made a mistake there and I'm going to rectify it at half time, and it's worked wonders.
There was a brief VAR check on that second West Ham goal. They were queuing up, weren't they, at the far post? It was just over the head of Fulkrug, but Thomas Souček unmarked to nod beyond Verbruggen. That change has been made. Soufal for Emerson was going to be Todibo before they'd scored. So Soufal has gone to left wing back as Brighton come forward in search of an equaliser. A game they had in the palm of their hands at half time has rapidly gone away from them in this second half. And as Perry has mentioned there, Graham Potter, I think, deserves credit for being so decisive at half-time and realising the error of his ways. Here's Estupinian, looking for the header, Danny Welbeck, cleared away by Soufal. Lewis Dunk comes forward, brings it down the chest on the edge of the penalty area, the big central defender for the Seagulls. Gomez plays a little lofted wedge out to the right-hand side, kept in play by Vifa. Suddenly, Brighton don't have time on their side in this game. 2-1 down with 3 minutes of the 90 to play. We are staying up, seeing the West Ham fans, ironically, who've travelled to the Sussex coast in their number. Now Karu Matoma. Over on the right-hand side, Matoma. Everybody, bar the goalkeeper Verbruggen, is inside the West Ham half of the field, and Fabian Hürzeler is Like the conductor of the orchestra down in front of us as he looks for a way back into this game, but Jarrod Bowen, creator of both West Ham goals, is able to run it clear, dispossessed by Duncan. Now Ayari just inside West Ham territory.
West Ham just dropped back into a 5-4-1 formation, but there you didn't see that in the first half. Paquetá just getting back and helping Wan-Bissaka out as Minter tried to go on the outside of him. It was Paquetá who made sure that he filled the hole, just swept out the danger, but Jarrod Bowen couldn't keep West Ham in possession.
Estupiñán picks out Gruder on the Brighton right. 2-1 to West Ham United here on Talksport 2. Gruder into the penalty area, good strength from him. Needs to pick out a teammate. Across comes Souček, and then Soufal helping out his big Czech mate, and he clears it away over on that left hand side. Hull City 0, Derby County 1. Massive goal in the fight for championship survival. Nat Phillips with 6 minutes to go. I'll update you on the table in just a moment in the second tier. Gomez into the penalty area, nodded down, and there's Matoma. 2-2 at the Amex. Karu Matoma with a diving header. Well, he got a late goal at Brentford last week that couldn't save his team. That one may just have rescued a point with barely a minute of normal time remaining. It was a deep cross from Gomez to the far post, headed along the 6-yard line, and Matoma, the wrong side of Mavropanos, sends his header crashing beyond Areola. It's 2-2.
Brilliantly worked from Brighton, from Gomez. One substitute to the other, Gruder on that far post. Can Gruder pick the right pass and make the right decision? Use his head in more ways than one. Just heads the ball back across 6-yard box. Matoma, completely unmarked, brave diving header, gets a boot in the face from Areola, puts Brighton back in this game here at the Amex at 2-2.
And what a finish now. Heading into stoppage time. Brighton 2, West Ham 2, and you still wouldn't rule out a fifth goal. His Fulkrug on the edge of the area, couldn't get the ball out from under his studs, and Brighton spurned the opportunity to clear, picked up by Paquetá. 3 added minutes only, we're being told, at the end of the 90s. Soler is ready by West Ham. Here's Soufal into the penalty area, tries to cut the cross back, sliding in with Vifa, it's out for a throw. Terrific game here at the Amex. And Brighton once again leaving it late to potentially get themselves a share of the spoils and keep the European candle flickering.
We've got no dog in the fight here, Crookie, have we? And when you see sometimes people moan about, I want more added on time, I want another 10 minutes.
It's as little as 3. There have been plenty of substitutions, not 2 stop start, but that doesn't seem enough to me. And I think that's the point Fabian Hertzler is making to the 4th official down below us. He wants more added time as well, understandably, as Brighton really need a winner. Ball is inside their penalty area, hooked away by Belieber. And now Gruder turning away from Paquetá, and they've got 5 against 3 Brighton. Wan-Bissaka getting back, and that wasn't the right ball from Gruder into Matoma. You can hear the groans of frustration as Max Kilman is able to clear it away.
You can actually see demonstration there from Minte, because he knew that he was unmarked on this left-hand side. He said there it was a 5v3 from Brighton's point of view. Gruder's got to pick the right pass, tries to go to his right-hand side, gets intercepted, but Brighton recycle the ball.
Here's Minte, deep in added time, 2-2 the score. Minte to Gomez on the edge of the West Ham area. Ayari, seems a long time ago now that he smashed one in from 25 yards to open the scoring. West Ham with all hands on deck, everybody back here. So the ball is clipped into the area. Danny Welbeck still out there, the veteran. Estupiñán looking for Gomez. He might just let this go behind for a corner. In the 92nd minute, you're listening to Brighton West Ham on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. If you're on holiday at home or away, Enterprise has a van for you. Minte with the ball into the area, beaten away by Areola.
The West Ham have just gone asleep from the corner. Little short corner from Brighton. Minte gets the ball with left-hand side.
Belieber though from distance. Oh my word! Belieber! He's a believer now! From 30 yards out! He let fly! He beats Areola! And Brighton surely have won it in stoppage time! West Ham players sink to their knees! Belieber is mobbed by the Brighton fans! Talk about a grandstand finish! And the European is Brighton 3, West Ham 2.
Well, all the Brighton fans are believers in Believer because he's just got the ball. He's fully 25 yards out. No one goes to close him down quick enough. With his left foot, he bends it round Jared Bowen, starts the ball about 2 yards outside Areola's far right-hand post, and he just nestles in. Areola doesn't even move his feet. We've seen two worldies here today, Crookie. The Brighton fans are actually looking round in disbelief. They cannot believe what they've just seen. Believer is the hero.
Absolutely incredible. They were 2-1 down, Brighton, a matter of minutes ago, and all of a sudden, after 2 goals in less than 4 minutes, they lead by 3 goals to 2. I think Fabian Hertzler, amidst all that, got a yellow card from the referee for his celebrations. But listen to the noise inside the Amex Stadium. A remarkable recovery from the home side, and Graham Potter, ashen-faced, can hardly believe what is unfolding here on Talksport 2.
Well, we're always privileged to do this job, Crookie, and we wondered how the game would be. I thought it would be exciting. I thought, obviously, because Brighton needed the win to get themselves in European positions. Obviously, Graham Potter coming back, playing against his former club. West Ham have played their part, but we've seen some real quality goals.
There's the full-time whistle. The Brighton players, some of them are kissing the turf and punching the air in jubilation. They were 2-1 down and seemingly down and out with minutes remaining. But a header from Matoma and an absolute stunner from Carlos Believer deep in stoppage time to go with Ayari's cracker in the first half have turned defeat into a crucial victory in their pursuit of European football. West Ham made a real game of it in the second half. Jared Bowen came up with 2 brilliant assists. Soucek looked like he'd won it, but ultimately it's defeat for Graham Potter, back on his old stomping ground. West Ham's limp end to the season continues, but Brighton very much now in the fight for a top 8 finish after the most sensational comeback. It finishes Brighton 3, West Ham 2.
Wow, Perry Groves, what an end to the game that was, and it deserved it, didn't it? It was such good fun from start to finish. It swung both ways. I thought it was going to end up being a cliched game of 2 halves, but what a comeback from Brighton in the end when they looked down and out.
Very much so, and from Fabian Hertzler's point of view, you want your substitutes go on and have an impact. Gruder's got himself 2 assists, a brilliant header back across from Matoma to make it 2-2. And then you're thinking, can somebody take responsibility? Can someone craft something out of nothing? And you can hear the Brighton fans here. It was Believer, and they can't believe what they've seen, Faye, because we saw a worldie from Ayari in the first half where he bent the ball from 25 yards around Paquetá to put Brighton 1-0 up, gave Areola absolutely no chance in the top left-hand corner. And then when Believer picks the ball up, we can see how far out he is, Faye, because we can see the different shades on the pitch. And he just picks it out. He's fully 25 yards out in the centre. As the ball comes to him on his left foot, Jared Bowen doesn't go and close the ball down quick enough, and he uses Jared Bowen as a screen, and he bends it round him. He starts the ball out probably 2 yards outside Areola's right-hand post. It nestles in, just clipped the post. Areola's got no chance. He's like his feet have been nailed to the floor. And we've seen a fantastic comeback here from Brighton to give themselves a real chance of getting one of those European positions.
I can't quite see who's getting booed at the moment, but somebody is coming across to the tunnel and is getting some boos from the Brighton fans, but all the Brighton fans are standing up in front of me with their phones out currently. It looked like it was Graham Potter, actually, who didn't celebrate, by the way, when that second West Ham goal went in, but unpopular he is here on the South Coast after his controversial move to Chelsea, which ultimately didn't work out for him. But Fabian Hertzler, since he's come in after Roberto De Zerbi had done some great work building on Graham Potter's legacy here at Brighton, Fabian Hertzler has come in and looks like he's going to be getting them European football as it stands. Just to make you aware, the game between Southampton and Fulham is still ongoing. Fulham had got themselves back into it and actually lead in the end. Ryan Sessegnon looked to have got the winner in the 92nd minute after Emile Smith-Rowe had equalised on 72. And actually that is a full-time result now. Southampton 1, Fulham 2, which means Fulham are 8th. Brighton level on points on 51 in 9th. And of course Bournemouth are playing Manchester United tomorrow. So the Premier League table is tight in the fight for European football next season. Bournemouth played a game less. Manchester United they have tomorrow, but they could go 8th with a win. They sit on 49 points as it stands. It's been a fantastic day of football. We're getting decisions across as the Brighton players take a standing ovation from the fans all around them, and a guard of honour actually from the coaching staff here at Brighton as they head into the tunnel. An unlikely win in the end, but a win no doubt. So Perry Groves, it is time for us to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whether you're on holiday, at home or away this summer, Enterprise has locations all over Europe and a vehicle that's just right for you.
I think I know who you were going to go for before those 2 late Brighton goals. So now I don't know who you're going to go for.
Well, have you seen my face and you're a believer? Because I have to say, Ayari was very good for Brighton in that midfield area. He gets his worldly 25-yard curl of his right foot. Jarrod Bowen was excellent in the second half for West Ham, playing in his natural right side position. 2 brilliant assists, one for Kudos where he just rolled with his left foot, and a brilliant cross with his left foot for Souček to come dive there at the far post to put West Ham 2-1 up. But Faye, you need players to take responsibility, and Believer's playing as a centre half, but obviously Brighton were pushing forward after Mitoma's equaliser, and to get the ball out of his feet and to have that coolness and calmness and then execute the technique what he did with his left foot and bend it into Ario's right hand post and give him absolutely no chance, then it has to be Believer, because he still kept Brighton in with a run into that, European positions. And we've just been very privileged to be here today to see a fantastic advert for the Premier League. And we said earlier, Faye, didn't we, about the strength of the Premier League in that middle tier. And we've just seen it before our very eyes today from Brighton.
It's fascinating, and it's going to be a scrap right to the finish, I think, for European football next season. So Believer was our man of the match from today's game with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Making a big move or planning a clear out with vans of all shapes and sizes? If you've got a plan, we've got a van.
Perry, Alex, thank you very much for your company as always.
Cheers, Faye. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday indeed. What a happy Saturday it's been, although not for some teams. I'm just going to run you through some of the results